Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your Akazaki Yahoo, and I start this broadcast as I would start any broadcast by first of all giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who were scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say, Shalom, Wa Baruchim. That is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait until the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, under one covenant, and back in our own land with a heart of flesh and no more a heart of stone. All praises to the Father. Hallelujah. All right. So it is fifth day of the week. And normally your Akazaki Yahoo is at work right now. Yeah, I wasn't feeling too well today. So I had to take a sick day today because I wasn't feeling well. Still not feeling my best. Still not feeling how I normally feel. But I feel good. I feel good enough to come on here and get live with you. It is fifth day of the week. Yom Shalishi, according to the calendar, fifth day of the week. And last week we kind of cut it off a little short. There are more. I want to find some more information on the brother who was murdered in the hospital, and I want to find some more information on that and bring it to you. That was a heartbreaking situation, and I pray that you be praying for the young man's family, his father, his mother. He had a sister on the video, and as a father myself, it's unimaginable to think about burying my son, one of my sons, either one of my sons. It's unimaginable. And to be subject to that because of a hospital, it's sad to say. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when this wicked stuff happens. None of this stuff takes me off guard. None of this stuff catches me by surprise. I hate to see it. I hate to see my people fall into these situations and these circumstances. But I kind of wonder if the Most High is just showing us, after all this time, all these centuries, all this time we've been in this captivity, he's just showing us that this people that a lot of us worship, he's just showing us that they're the devil. Like I've been telling y'all all along, but now I'm about to show you. I'm about to turn it up so you can see clearly and concisely that these people are devils. These people are evil. And this is what you're dealing with. You holding on, you want to be friends. The scripture says, though hand join a hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. And that's a hard text for some people to read. It's a hard idea for some people to think, because you just think, Mr. Johnny over here, or Mr. whoever it is, doesn't matter what their name is, whoever it is, who you hold esteem, who you hold in esteem, you thinking they all right? They all right, cat. You say some silly stuff sometimes, but he all right. Everybody entitled to a slip up here or a time there. when a person speak and what's coming out their mouth is something crazy, it's not a one-off. People speak what's inside of them. They speak what's in them. So if he says some off-color stuff, some unreasonably uncomfortable stuff, it's not because, oh, he's just bugging out. He's just on one today or something of that nature. No. That's who he is. He's just showing you a small glimpse of it. He's just showing you a small piece of it. That's why it's so important to guard your speech. You got to guard your speech. You got to be cognizant of what you're saying. Because us, we represent the children of Israel. We are the people of the Most High. So we got to really, really guard our speech. We got to be so cognizant in everything that we do. Because every step we take, every move that we make, we are representing the power of Israel. The Most High power, first of all. Now, also, you're representing your tribe. You're representing your nation. You're representing your people. People just think that they're representing themselves. It's way deeper than that, baby. It's way deeper than that. You can't just represent yourself. That's not a luxury that we have. It's so much more than just myself. If I could come to you as Zakiyahu, the man, or as my slave name, Jerome, I mean, but I can't represent just me. It's the perception of people, not just me. The perception of people is that's a Hebrew Israelite, or that's a so-called black man, or that's one of them Hebrews, or one of them Israelites, or one of them fellas that be on the corners or be in the streets or whatever the case. That's one of them. I can't represent just me. It don't exist. It don't exist. So before we get started, I'll be giving praises to the Father and to the 12 tribes who are scattered. Well, not praises, praise the 12 tribes. We praise the Most High, Bahashem, Hamashiach, the Messiah, Yehoshua, Yahushua, Yahushua, however you choose to pronounce his name. We pay homage to him and all that he's done for us. And lastly, I want to give honors to the elders, all the elders who labor in the work, who labor in the truth, who seek to bring knowledge to the brothers and to build up the brothers and to make the brothers better. So double honors to the elders and my elders, those who raised me, those who helped me, those who have poured into me, whether you met me in person or not, whether you see me in person or not. If I've gleaned anything from you, I consider you an elder. And if you've been a brother to me, I consider you a great elder. So double honors to those brothers, to those elders. And shout out to the brothers, man. Those who labor in this truth on a consistent base. Brothers who are out here putting in this work. Brothers who are out here making a difference, out here in the streets, teaching the word on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. We're out here doing the work. We don't take it lightly. We don't take it for granted. You know, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And, you know, it's nothing to be shake your head at. You know, a lot of these brothers have been laboring for years, you know, waking up to the truth themselves, and then trying to wake others up, trying to come to other people, of our people, of the lost sheep of the house of Israel, Yasha Allah, Yasha, however you choose to pronounce it. You know, Mishpachah is what I love to say. Israel, Yasha all, Yasha Allah. You know, so shout out to the brothers, man. You know, camp brothers out there on the corners, bringing people. Come here, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Having conversations with people. Shout out to the brothers, the assemblies, congregations, people meeting in houses, people meeting in a building. You know, they might not be in the street. They meet. They read the text. They're gaining understanding. They're shedding light on situations, circumstances, gaining understanding. Serving the Most High. That's the important thing. You know, I was thinking before I get to the video, I was having a little thought to myself. You know, it's a lot of brothers who do a lot of good work, a lot of great things. And sometimes brothers don't always agree with everything. So take, for instance, Deuteronomy chapter 7. So Deuteronomy chapter 7 talks about, I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have it up to read it. Paraphrasing, it names off 7 Canaanite nations. And the script says, do not make marriages with them. Do not make any kind of covenant with them. Don't give your sons, don't take their daughters to your sons. Don't give your daughters to their sons. They will turn your son's heart from following me. It's what the Most High said through the prophet Moshe, through the lawgiver Moshe. Do not go to these people to make relationships with them because they're going to turn your son's heart from me. That's what he told us to understand that. Now, fast forward to today's time, last 10 years. Brothers, read that text. You know what? Let's get the text. Let's get the text on the screen. You know what? Let's just do it right. Let's just do it the right way. Devarim chapter number 7. Let's just read it. Now, we can talk about it and we can, you know, fiddle faddle with it. You know, there's been a lot of kind of not really back and forth. There's been a lot of conversation about this particular text. And it's ironic because it should be simple to understand. Let's read. This is the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter number 7 and verse number 1. It says, when Yahuwah your power shall bring you into the land, whether you go to possess it, and have cast out many nations before you, the Hittites, the Gergesites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. When Yahuwah your power hath delivered them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenants with them, nor show mercy to them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughters you shall not give unto his son, nor shall his daughter shall you take unto your son. Here's the reason for all of this. Excuse me, I'm getting a little hyped up. Here's the reason for all of this. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve idols, other gods, other deities, something besides the most high power, the power of Israel, Yasha'al, Yasha'Allah. So will the anger of Yahuwah be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. Now here's the crazy thing. We see it on the screen. Read the text. We just read it. Verse 1 through 4. This text has been wrestled back and forth over and over. Brothers say this, brothers say that. Oh, it only talks about those 7 nations. It even names them by name. It even shows you them by name. It even says these 7 nations. Those you can't make marriage. You can't make marriages with them. You can't give your daughter to their sons. You can't take their daughter to your sons. Those 7 nations. Israel, let me ask you a question. And this is, I hope this clears this up unequivocally. Unequivocally, I hope this makes this so clear in us. Yes, I will mention these 7 nations. Yes, he was talking about us going into this land and taking this land for our own. But let me ask you a question. His concern for us not dealing with these nations was right here in verse 4. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other or idols. So if the Most High's concern is that your son, our children, are going to turn to idols and not serve him, what people in the earth serve the Most High in righteousness and in truth, so that if you marry them, they're not going to turn away your heart or try to turn away your heart from serving the Most High? What people in the earth do this? What people in the earth are serving the Most High so that this is not a concern? You know, it's so ironic. It's so ironic, you know, and I wanted to use a different word, but I'm gonna say ironic. It's so ironic that that's such a thing. You have to explain it this way. What people in the earth would not turn your heart from serving the Most High? When you meet some woman of some strange nation and her idol is an idol of sexual deviancy, and she wants you to come and meet her friends or her sisters or whoever and lay with all of them, and you go, okay, I can do that. Now you ain't turning your heart. They putting you on some foolishness. You thinking you there for a good time? No, you being seduced. You're being seduced. They playing you. Ak, they playing you. There's a couple other scripts I wanted to just grab real quick, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We're already 20 minutes into this video, but I'll just say them. I don't remember the address of this particular one, but there's one that says, what people in the earth, you will find that Israel alone, I think it's 2nd Ezra, I can't remember the chapter. You will find that your people alone, that Israel alone, have kept your Torah, not the heathen. Israel alone. Now, this other one, I'm not going to jump to that one, but this one I'm going to jump to because I know exactly where I'm trying to go here. We're going to go to Romans chapter 10. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Verse 1. It's the book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, Shaul writes, I say the truth in Mashiach. I lie not. My conscience also bear me witness in HaKodesh Ruach, that I have great heaviness and continuous sorrow in my heart. For I wish that myself were accursed for Mashiach. For my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of HaTorah and the service of the Most High and the promises, whose are the fathers, of whom, as concerning the flesh, Mashiach came, who is over all, Most High Barak forever. Amen. So be it. So the service of the Most High is to the Israelites. So an Israelite man should be with an Israelite woman, and an Israelite woman should be with an Israelite man. Getting all off into this foolishness is what got us all messed up in these situations, scattered in these captivities, all in the negative situations and circumstances of our own people. And this is what's gotten us completely messed up in the most hurtful and harmful way possible. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a people who don't want to deal with the Most High. And so they're going to have their own way of doing things. And you think you're going to go to these people and make marriages with them. And somehow it's going to just work out. They don't want to do what you want to do. They want to do what they want to do. And what they want to do is seduce you into doing evil. Every time we've linked up with the nations, it's turned out bad. Every time. Every time. And I know people love to run to the law. Well, what about the law that says if you go into town and play and kill all the men and you see a beautiful woman and you want to take her to be your wife, you can take her. Guess what? You can't take her. That's what Torah said. And guess what else? Her father, her brother, every man she knows is dead. So all she got left is you. If you're not man enough in that situation to get that woman on your page, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You go into a town and you smoke everybody there and take a woman that's left and make her your wife, and she has nothing left. If you can't get that woman on your page, meaning she is serving the Most High in the manner that you serving, and she has nothing left, that's a shame to you. That would be a shame unto you. You are disappointed the nation of Israel if you can't handle that piece of business. You have killed everybody this woman knows, and now you can't even get this woman to leave her idols alone and deal with righteousness based on all the great things that the Most High have done for you and yours. Come on, man. Come on, my people. We got to do better than that. We got to think better than that. Stop playing the Most High like he's low grade nothing, because he's not a low grade nothing. He's everything we need. All right. Let's get to the video review. We have a triple header for you this evening, and it's just myself, Kenanaya. I don't know what he got going on. I didn't get a chance to rap with him. This is normally, he's probably getting his family things in order. We normally don't get together on this particular day. I just so happen to be off work today. And so what better thing to do than to share with the people of the Most High. Praises to the Abba. Triple header video. Our first video is brought to us by our good brothers over at Black Journals. It is the untold evils done on slave ships. Now, this is something that you don't really think about, because the slave ship in itself is thought of as evil. The slave ship in itself was thought of as an evil entity that existed to do so much harm to a people so unexpected. And you never knew what was going to happen on that ship until you got there. And whatever happened, nobody wrote home about it. Nobody sent letters home. U.S. Postal Services didn't go across the seas to the mailbox in the west coast of Africa or the west coast of Kebulan and saying, hey, I want you to know we made it and the voyage was horrible. So if you could at all avoid it, don't get on that ship. That never happened. That was never a thing. Instead, what happened was our people were stolen, packed on ships like animals, and not done well at all. Nothing went well in that situation. Nothing was made good there. That all went completely negative. All right. Let's get to the video. And yeah, here we go.
Now, do we call it the predominant mentality of such an era, or just sheer cruelty and detest for a people not like they are? History informs us that between about 1500 and 1900, Europeans forcibly uprooted millions of people from throughout West Africa and West Central Africa and shipped them across the Atlantic in conditions of great cruelty. What could have inspired that level of animosity? To refer to the Africans who were enslaved only as slaves strips them of their identity. They were, for instance, farmers, merchants, priests, soldiers, goldsmiths, and musicians. They were husbands and wives, fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. European slavers dispersed them across the Americas to lead lives of degradation and brutality without thought for their personal lives. Millions died in the process. As a result, people of African descent are spread throughout the Americas and Western Europe. This is called the African diaspora. In this video, we are taking a dive into what it feels like to live life aboard a slave ship. You shall be intimated with details on the horrendous events inside what is called a slave ship, on the lives of blacks captured against their will and turned to slaves in the wink of an eye. Hit the thumb button to support our works as we proceed. Share content with as many as you can, and subscribe to stay with us if you are yet to. Your support means a lot to us. Let's take a dive in.
Yeah.
Slave ships were large cargo ships specially converted for the purpose of taking...
One thing real quick, I always put the link of the video in the description box for you to find it. If you want to go to their page and take a look at it, like it, share it, whatever the case. You know, I'm sharing it here as a part of, you know, rebroadcasting it. And shout out to Black journalists. They do great work. We got a couple of videos of theirs to review today. So let's continue.
Slaves, especially newly captured African slaves to the Americas. Living conditions for slaves on these ships was awful. Men, women, and children were crowded into every possible space, leaving no room to move or even breathe. There was little food, and the smell could not be described. Between 1526 and 1867, about 12.5 million slaves were sent by slave ships from Africa to the Americas, but only about 10.7 million slaves actually arrived, meaning that 1.8 million had died in the Middle Passage. Of all human migrations, this had caused the most human deaths. The average time to sail across the Atlantic was 60 to 90 days. Sometimes the trips took up to 4 months. Traders set out from European ports towards Africa's west coast. There they bought people in exchange for goods and loaded them into the ships. While Europeans owned and operated the slave ships, the work of kidnapping new victims was generally left to West Africans, whom they have successfully lured into the ungodly activity. Bands of slavers would roam the African countryside, preying on villagers who let their guard down. Olaudah Equiano, who was abducted when he was 8 years old, has his own side of the story to tell.
All right, real quick here, for something that he said that was very pertinent. One of my elders has a video out. I got to find it. I've been wanting to find it and share it because it talked about how they were able to get the people on the continent of Kebulan, or what we call Africa today, to sell people into slavery. And they called it making war. They would teach them to go and make war. And what that war would entail would be them taking these people, kidnapping them basically, and giving them over to these people to put them on ships. And they would call that making war. Like I said, one of my elders has a teaching on that. And he found it in some old textbooks. So most High willing, I'll find that and share it with everybody here, so that we can have that as a part of the catalog as well. So let's continue.
When all our people were gone out to their works as usual, and only I and my dear sister were left to mind the house, 2 men and a woman got over our walls, and in a moment seized us both, and without giving us time to cry out or make resistance, they stopped our mouths and ran off with us into the nearest wood. Here they tied our hands and continued to carry us as far as they could till night came on, when we reached a small house where the robbers halted for refreshment and spent the night. We were then unbound, but were unable to take any food, and being quite overpowered by fatigue and grief, our only relief was some sleep.
It sometimes took several months to transport captives to the coast, and they were often sold and resold to several new owners along the way. Once they reached the coast, some captives were taken to slave forts or compounds where they waited for a slave vessel to arrive. Many of these fortresses still stand on the coast of Africa, at places like Ilmina and Goree Island, as ruined monuments to the cruel economy of years past. Once a ship was ready, the Africans were handed over to their new captors, Europeans and Americans, who would take them on their journey to the Americas. Ship captains were under orders by slavers, to deliver only saleable slaves. Starving, sick, or troublesome slaves were often thrown overboard into the ocean to drown. Sometimes Africans were kept on deck chained together with long chains. There were times when these captives would jump overboard, taking every other chained slave with them to avoid their unknown fate. Many ships kept extra crew members on deck to prevent this from happening. At other times, crew members would throw slaves overboard as a warning to other slaves. If the ship was running out of food or water, all the slaves would be killed to save the crew from starving. Slave ships could at times get insurance on their cargoes of slaves, but insurance would not pay if the slavers starved the slaves or they got sick. Insurance paid out if the slaves drowned, but not if they were severely starved to death. In 1781, the slave ship Zong was hauling 470 slaves, which was more than the ship could handle. Many began to get sick. By the time the ship reached the doldrums, a mid-Atlantic region that at times had no wind, several of the crew had died from the spreading diseases. To save themselves, the remaining crew threw 132 dying and sick slaves into the ocean. Another 10 slaves had also jumped with them. When they tried to collect the insurance underwriter denied the claim, which had led to a court case in 1782, and a court in Jamaica ruled for the owners. This occurrence would attract a great deal of public attention then. No member of the crew or the owners were ever charged with murder. However, we shall not go into the Zong story proper for now, but certainly another day soon. So back to slave ships.
Yeah. So the lack of humanity here in these situations and these circumstances, these were people that they were throwing off of these ships into this water, into the ocean, and just left for death, for dead. And the brother said, no one was charged with murder. I beg to differ. The Most High is charging is going to be the one charging, because every deed is going to be accounted for. Every situation, every circumstance is going to be accounted for. And to treat people with zero humanity, I mean, that's just unreasonable. Just throw people off a ship in the middle of the ocean and just no regard. I mean, that is unreasonably harsh, just unreasonably cruel and disgusting. So let's continue.
Olaudah Equiano, yet again, had more to tell us concerning the unimaginable horrors of his encounters. This is how he described his journey in a slave ship.
The closeness of the place and the heat of the climate added to the number in the ship, which was so crowded that each had scarcely the room to turn himself, almost had us suffocated. This wretched situation was again aggravated by the galling of the chains, now becoming insupportable, and the filth of the necessary tubs, into which the children often fell, and were almost suffocated. The shrieks of the women and the groans of the dying rendered the whole scene of horror almost inconceivable.
Those who were not killed by conditions on board were often permanently disabled by beatings or disease. Many slave captains threw sick or injured Africans overboard so that their losses would be covered by insurance. Though they were shackled, sickened, and outnumbered, captive Africans frequently fought back against their tormentors. On more than 300 voyages, the captives on the slave deck attempted to overthrow the crew, and in several cases they triumphed. In 1839, the victorious Africans on the slave ship Amistad even succeeded in sailing the ship into port and eventually returned home in freedom. About 15 to 20% of the ships leaving Africa never arrived in the Americas. In thousands of cases, the crews were overtaken by captured slaves, some of them warriors. Often the crew was killed, and the Africans managed to sail back to Africa. In other cases, the ships were lost at sea. Interestingly, there are tons of documented slave ship revolts that you really ought to know of. 1. The Little George ship revolt. This one happened after the ship Little George left Guinea in the June of 1730. It was carrying 96 slaves to Rhode Island. Several of the African men slipped out of their shackles and overpowered the crew. They killed 3 of the crew who were on deck at the time. The rest were taken prisoner. The Africans sailed the ship back to the Sierra Leone River, where they had abandoned the ship and still imprisoned the crew. Our number 2 account happened in 1732. A ship out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which was captained by John Major, had just loaded hundreds of slaves and was leaving when about 50 Africans took over the ship. The crew was killed with guns, axes, swords, and other weapons taken from the crew members. A third account happened in 1747, where an American ship with a captain named Beers was taken over by hundreds of captive Africans in West Africa. All but 2 of the crew were killed with their own weapons. There was no record of how many Africans died during the short battle. The list where Africans revolted in a slave ship is endless. In a 1764 ship incident, an unnamed ship from New London, Connecticut, had just taken on a load of slaves in Senegal. That night, while the ship was still in port, the Africans freed themselves and, using clubs, killed the entire crew and captain, after which the Africans then disappeared back into Senegal. Another interesting slave ship revolt had also happened in 1839, the Spanish ship Amistad. The slave ship in question was sailing off the coast of Cuba in the process of smuggling slaves. By this time, slave trading was illegal, except in Cuba. Joseph Cinque, who had been captured as a slave in Sierra Leone, led a revolt that had far-reaching consequences. The court case in Connecticut that followed was appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States, where it was upheld. Cinque and the surviving Africans returned to Sierra Leone in 1842. What about the Creole ship uprising of October 27th, the year 1841? This one was bound for New Orleans with a cargo of 135 slaves. The slaves were able to kill some of the crew, and then the rest were taken captive. The ship arrived at Nassau, Bahamas, where the slaves were set free by the British. Documented accounts of slave ship revolt are just countless. Slave ships ranged in size from the 10-ton Hesketh, which could carry a crew plus 30 captive Africans, to the 566-ton Par, which carried a crew of 100 and could hold a cargo of as many as 700 enslaved people. By the turn of the 18th century, European merchants were building vessels capable of transporting hundreds of enslaved people per journey. These ships had extra portholes for ventilation, weapons mounted on deck in case of rebellion, and additional compartments added below deck to take on more human cargo. Before boarding the ships at African port cities, enslaved people were stripped off their clothing and remaining possessions and had their heads forcibly shaved. During boarding, which could take weeks or even months, enslaved people lived on the deck of the ship in a temporary wooden house constructed by the crew. The crew also installed netting around the deck of the ship, designed to catch those enslaved who might opt for death over forced servitude. Once moved below deck, these enslaved Africans would find themselves stuffed into compartments with ceilings as low as 4.5 feet, where they would spend most of their voyage. They were separated by gender and age. The lower deck of a slave ship was divided into separate compartments for men and women, with the men shackled together in pairs, and the women left unchained but confined below, and children often free to move about the ship. Enslaved women tended to be outnumbered 2-to-1. Female-male ratios varied according to region, as well as period, argues Jennifer L. Morgan in Laboring Women, Reproduction and Gender in New World Slavery, University of Pennsylvania Press, Philadelphia, 2004. From the evidence on many vessels over time, generally women were doubly victimized and sexually abused. Ships were hypersexualized spaces, crewed by men who might have close relationships only with each other or ship's animals. Male crew typically took women passengers, be they convicts, enslaved women, or unprotected immigrants, as sexual partners for the duration of a trip. Sometimes they even married them. There could be tenderness and gallant protectiveness, but women almost always had the less powerful position. In some cases, women managed to turn men's desire for them, or assumptions of women's inferiority, for their own benefit, even on slave ships. Shipboard practices varied, but on most slave ships, women were usually left unshackled. They had more freedom to rove the ship than did men. Enslaved women were also tragic murder victims, as these 2 stories of voyages show. Dramatic stories of 2 enslaved women on ships reveal something about the realities of the long, cooped-up and traumatic voyages and gendered relations. The unnamed young woman was on Captain John Kimber's recovery from New Calabar. They were headed for Grenada in October 1791. Isaac Cruikshank graphically pictured the terrible situation of the 15-year-old African virgin who refused to exercise. Her refusal was normal. Many did, not least because they were too saddened by their plight to dance, that is, to be complicit in the process of making themselves into commodities that could be sold as healthy and fit on arrival. But in this case, Kimber allegedly flogged her, repeatedly. He was said to have several times made the crew suspend her by one leg and then drop her to the deck of the ship. She died. One of the 27 of the 300 slaves died on the 57-day trip. In 1792, Kimber was tried for her murder, but acquitted. William Wilberforce used this Cruikshank image in his struggle to bring the abolition of slavery, 1800. It's an effective image as propaganda, but it also needs discussion. That same year, 1791, Captain James D. Wolfe was indicted for murdering a woman, also unnamed. He had her put overboard because he thought she had smallpox and would infect everyone on board the Polly. Caring? No. He just didn't want to lose his potentially profitable cargo. Captain James D. Wolfe first had the sick woman put high up in the mainmast 2 days earlier. Then he ordered she be put overboard. The sailors refused, according to Seaman John Cranston. Scared to touch her? No, they were actually quite keen to get exposure to smallpox and thereby gain immunity. On their refusal, D. Wolfe himself ran up the shrouds. Then he lashed her in a chair and tied a mask round her eyes and mouth, and there was a tackle hooked upon the slings round the chair when we lowered her down on the larboard side of the vessel. Cranston said the mask was tied onto the woman so that she could not see what was happening to her, so that she would not struggle, and to prevent her making any noise that the other slaves might not hear, lest they should rise. She drowned. They didn't rise. Marcus Rediker writes of the D. Wolfe case in The Slave Ship, A Human History, John Murray, London, 2007.
I started looking at enslaved women's conditions as part of studying their regulation on ships. Convicts and emigrants had white shipboard matrons and conductresses to look after, but also marshal them. They were like wardresses, albeit not very authoritative ones, and could almost be seen as akin to World War I lady patrollers. Enslaved women had no such protectors on their ships.
One of the jobs of gender-aware historians is to examine, where we can, how much men's terrible femophobia played a part in different voyages, and how women negotiated agency where they could. Black and Asian women's struggle was, of course, especially challenging. Matilda McCreer, 1857 to 1940, was the last known living survivor in the United States of the transatlantic slave trade and the ship Clotilda. She was a Yoruba who was captured and brought to Mobile County, Alabama, at the age of 2. McCreer was captured in West Africa with her mother and sisters by the army of the West African Kingdom of Dahomey, which had attacked their home. The Dahomeans transported their prisoners to Ouida, a coastal port for slave trading. They were among more than 100 Africans transported in 1860 on the Clotilda. She had 2 other.
Ouida, that is, if you look on the slave coast map, the slave port map, Ouida, that is Judah. That is what they were labeling that. If you look on that map, I can pull it up, but I don't want to prolong much more. So we might look at it after this is over, but let's continue.
Their sisters whose names are not known. The girls were later sold apart from their mother and never reunited. Captain William Foster of the Clotilda, the last known slave ship to have carried captives from Africa to the United States, later arrived in Ouida and transported 110 enslaved Africans, including McCreer, to the United States illegally, as the U.S. prohibited the Atlantic slave trade in 1808 with the Act prohibiting importation of slaves. After the abolition of slavery in 1865, McCreer, who first took the surname of Cree, continued to work as a sharecropper in Alabama with her relatives. She never married, but, according to her grandson, had 14 children with a white German-born man. She changed her name from Cree to McCreer. In her 70s, McCreer made a legal claim for compensation for her enslavement, which was dismissed. In January 1940, McCreer fell ill after a stroke. She died January 13th in Selma, Dallas County, Alabama, aged 83. Prior to the publication of Durkin's research in 2020, McCreer's contemporary Ridoshi from 1848 to 1937 was thought to be the last living survivor of the Clotilda and of the transatlantic slave trade. In slave ships, there were no sanitary facilities of any kind. The conditions were appalling, with hundreds of people crowded together with little airflow and less sanitation. Captive Africans suffered from diseases such as dysentery and smallpox, depression and outright despair, the cruelty of captain and crew, and sexual exploitation. As a result, mortality rates averaged above 20% for captive Africans in the first decades of the slave trade, and about 10% by 1800. The possibility of mutiny or revolt resulted in a heavy hand with discipline. Crew and captive cargo were routinely whipped, and more extreme forms of violence, including thumbscrews, were used to discipline the Africans. Despite this, Africans did resist. Some committed suicide by jumping overboard or refused to eat, while others organized insurrections. Although due to the overwhelming weaponry brought to bear by the crew, few attempts at revolt succeeded. The voyage across the Atlantic, known as the Middle Passage, generally took 6 to 8 weeks. Once in the Americas, those Africans who had survived the gruesome journey were offloaded for sale and put to work as enslaved labor. The ships then returned to Europe with goods such as sugar, coffee, tobacco, rice, and later cotton, which had been produced by enslaved labor. The triangle, involving 3 continents, was then complete. European capital, African labor, and American land and resources combined to supply a European market. The colonists in the Americas also made direct slaving voyages to Africa, which did not follow the triangular route. This trade had increased after 1800, particularly from Brazil. For the captive Africans aboard a slave ship, the voyage to the New World was a passage of unimaginable horror. For most captives, the separation from their villages and families was still fresh, and now they were thrust into a hostile and alien world, at the mercy of people who were like none they had ever seen before. Upon boarding, they were stripped of their belongings, branded, chained, and sent below decks, where they would be forced to remain for most of the months-long journey. Enslaver ships spent several months traveling to different parts of the coast, buying their cargo. The captives were often in poor health from the physical and mental abuse they had suffered. They were taken on board, stripped naked, and examined from head to toe by the captain or surgeon. Conditions on board the ship during the Middle Passage were appalling. The men were packed together below deck and were secured by leg irons. The space was so cramped they were forced to crouch or lie down. Women and children were kept in separate quarters, sometimes on deck, allowing them limited freedom of movement, but this also exposed them to violence and sexual abuse from the crew. The slave deck itself was a living nightmare. To the slave traders, these human beings were cargo, and slave ships were especially designed to transport as many captives as possible, with little regard for either their health or their humanity. Slave decks were often only a few feet high, and the African captives were shackled together, lying down, side by side, head to foot, or even closer. Deaths from suffocation, malnutrition, and disease were routine on the slave deck, as were arbitrary torture and murder by the crew. The closeness, the filth, and the fear delivered many into madness, and suicide attempts were common. Other ships could smell slavers from far away, and Portuguese sailors called them tumbeiros, or floating tombs. The air in the hold was foul and putrid. Seasickness was common, and the heat was oppressive. The lack of sanitation and suffocating conditions meant there was a constant threat of disease. Epidemics of fever, dysentery, the flux, and smallpox were frequent. Captives endured these conditions for about 2 months, sometimes longer. In good weather, the captives were brought on deck in mid-morning and forced to exercise. They were fed twice a day, and those refusing to eat were force-fed. Those who died were thrown overboard. The combination of disease, inadequate food, rebellion, and punishment took a heavy toll on captives and crew alike. Surviving records suggest that until the 1750s, 1 in 5 Africans on board ship died. Some European governments, such as the British and French, introduced laws to control conditions on board. They reduced the numbers of people allowed on board and required a surgeon to be carried. It is important to note that the principal reason for taking such action was because of their concern for the crew, and not even for the suffering captives. The surgeons, though often unqualified, were paid head money to keep captives alive. By about 1800 records, show that the number of Africans who died had declined to about 1 in 18. In closing, the horrors endured by Black males and females aboard slave ships stand as enduring testaments to the depths of human cruelty and resilience. As we reflect on these atrocities, let us not just remember the suffering, but let it fuel our commitment to justice, equality, and the dignity of every individual. May their stories inspire us to confront and dismantle the legacies of oppression that continue to shape our world today. That brings us to the end of yet another interesting video segment. And if you did learn a thing or two, then support our works by hitting the thumb button, share with friends and family to keep spreading our eye-opening Black narrative, and subscribe to stay with us. We've got more eye-opening contents coming your way. Don't miss out. Thank you for watching.
Praises to the Father for another great video from our good brothers over at Black Journals. They do really great work over there, and man, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff to see what they do and to be able to go into it more in depth. And man, I'm thankful, truly thankful for that. I was looking at the map here, Negro Land map, and it's been a little bit since I've looked at this, and wonder if they've made their business to try to change things, because it used to jump right out at you, and I'm not seeing it. So this is the Negro Land map. This is what they call Negro Land. So this is where all the so-called Negroes were. You know, Negro is a Spanish word for Black. So these were the Spaniards who made this map to tell them what was where. And if you back out of it here, like I have, move this over. There we go. If you back out of it like I have here, you can see the entire thing. Here's Guinea, and you can see the Gold Coast. Slave Coast is here. Benin, the Grain Coast. Here are gold mines here. You have the Atlantic Ocean here, the Gulf of Guinea here, and it's part of Ethiopia, or the one of the rivers there, or the bodies of water, I should say. Mandinga is here. Wida, I wanted to say was here. May be mistaken, but it used to be so prominent, and I think they've found out that we found out about it, and they've done some changes, because it used to be so. It's been a little bit since I've looked at this, and it really makes me wish I would have kept it when I saw it, because who'd have thought that they would have go back and try to change it? I don't see it. I feel like I'm looking over it, but I can't be. You see the Niger River here. I mean, this is how they mapped it. So this is how they kept track of what was where, and who was where as well, as they understood it. I believe Wida was right here in this area. I believe. But I also believe that they done took it off, because it should be right here. But they took the Gold Coast rich and gold. They stole all of that. They stole our people. They stole our substance. They stole everything that they could. And all these years later, we're here, and I'm not going to say we have nothing, because we definitely have done, I can't imagine another people growing up in bondage, living in bondage for generations, and to be able to still be where we are. And that's not a testament to how great we are. That is a testament to the power that made us. The power that made us so magnificent that even all of these years, centuries later, that we are still, even majority of us absent of knowledge and understanding, yet we are still able to be, to thrive and to be in a position to live and to continue. Most people would have been done by now if they had endured what we have endured as a people, as a great number of people. To transport people in such horrid conditions, I literally cannot find it. I mean, I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking at every inch of this map. They must have changed it. They must have taken whiter off. I mean, there's no way possible I'm looking over whiter. I'm seeing everything else but whiter. I'm seeing everything but whiter. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I'm seeing everything but whiter. And I'm looking down here. I'm looking in the on the coast, the Gold Coast, the Slave Coast. I believe once we started bringing these things out, they started making modifications. So you can't get this now where it shows that. Yeah, it was a Negro land map, but it never said whiter. That's their solution. They'll just take it and remove it, and in a short time, you can't prove it. So if you can't see me, it goes away, which is absolutely ridiculous, because we all know it. We all know where whiter is. We all know, but we know. I'm gonna have to find it. It's not on here. It's not on here. That is extraordinary. That somehow it has disappeared. It was there and now it's gone. Here's a different map. That map was the map I was really thinking about. Let's look here and see if we can find it here. So here's the slave. Oh, here it is. Was I in the wrong place? Kingdom of Judah. Right here. Right in the slave coast. Let's go back to this map. Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, it's not on this map. It was right here. Kingdom of J-U. Okay. This is the second map I looked at, and I couldn't find it. But when I go jump to the third map here, we find it right here. I say it jumps out at you. It's not hidden on the proper map. So right here, Kingdom of Judah, right here. J-U-D-A. And on some maps it says Wida, W-A-D-A. Oh, you know what? Here it is. W-H-I-D-A-H. Slave Coast, Wida, Kingdom of Judah, or Wida, Slave Coast. So it's listed here. So it just depends on. So they trying to change the narrative. They want to change it, but you can't change it. We got it now. Oh, here it is right here. Wida. Here's Wida right there. Slave Coast. Not only we have Slave Coast, and we weren't calling it the Slave Coast. That was what they called it. Then we had the Gold Coast. So, like I said, they took all of our stuff and reduced us to 2 slaves. But this was the map that they used to keep track of us. And we had to get this joker and put it up so we can have it and not let it get away. Because they'll take it and try to change the narrative. That's how they operate. All right. So that's what he mentioned Wida. That's why I wanted to go there. So, all right, let's get back to the videos here. We have another video to have a look at here. Again, from my good brothers over at Black Journals. And praises to the Father. This is the secret conspiracy to keep blacks depowered, unempowered. All right. Here we go.
He was dragged from a drain pipe, tortured, sodomized with a bayonet, stripped to the waist, made to suffer from an apparent gunshot wound to the head without pity, while in a pool of his own blood. That was the last hours of Muammar Gaddafi in the hands of his Western-enabled rebel captors after his fleeing convoy was hit by drones reported to have been provided by the West. Later, when his captors were certain of his death, his lifeless body was used as an object to pose for photographs as they yank his limp head up and down by the hair, something that the West would have seriously frowned at if it were to happen to even an ordinary citizen of theirs. Not to talk of a head of state, Gaddafi's assassination and inhumane treatment were widely celebrated and broadcasted.
This is a Libya that for the first time in 42 years does not have to live in fear of Muammar Gaddafi. He is gone for good, and few, if any, are mourning his passing.
Today, we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end.
The world is a better place with Gaddafi gone.
But more than a decade after, Libyans and the entire African continent are now more sure than ever of the reasons why the West wanted him gone by every means possible, even if it required disgracing him alive and in death. And their reasons are the same today as yesterday. Africa must not be united. Africa must never be free.
One man was heard saying before Gaddafi was dragged off the hood towards an ambulance, Gaddafi died in the ambulance.
So one thing that we always have to be cognizant of, never do these people move to make a move, to do anything for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It's never like, I'm very deliberate in what I'm doing. When I get to where I'm going, I'm there. And when I go into a store, I'm going in for this, and this. Rarely do I go in to really browse, to really just look and see, oh, they got this, oh, they got that. Every now and again, I find myself doing that, and I'll go, I didn't know they had this. I ain't never seen this one before. And it's usually in a place that I'm not normally at, or that I don't normally go to. But normally I'm very deliberate. These people are deliberate too, very calculating, very forward thinking. So when they make a move, they already have anticipated, okay, if we do this, this will happen, and then this could happen over here, but these people may do that, or whatever the case. They've already thought it through. They've already looked at the possibilities, and they even try to control the narrative with the media, and they're going to put out in the media what they want the people to think. And so you start getting these thoughts aren't even your thoughts. These thoughts that have been implanted in your mind through the media, through the radio, through the television, through even social media. If you're listening to the wrong stuff. But if you're listening to the right stuff, then you'll get what it really is. So let's continue.
Jalil Abdelaziz, a doctor who accompanied the body in the ambulance during the 120-mile drive to Misrata, said Gaddafi died from bullet wounds.
1:45 in the afternoon in Cairo, Egypt. Live continuing coverage here on Al Jazeera of a day of mass protests. They called it a day of rage. It is fast turning into that.
The unbelievable pictures you're seeing there of crowds of protesters trying to dump the vehicle that is a personnel carrier that carries troops of the police. They're trying almost to knock it over the side of the bridge into the Nile. Yes, into the Nile. You can see more tear gas being fired at the protesters, and more of them are coming our way.
Take your
Just
time.
1 second, stay with us, come on.
Live on CNN. Why are you here today?
I'm here because look at what's happening. Young Kenyans are demonstrating for their rights. They're demonstrating with flags and banners. I can't even see anymore. They're being tear gassed. They're being tear gassed.
We shall not be intimidated. It's our nation. We know how to be this nation.
In this video, we review how the West conspired individually and collectively to pauperize the continent and prevent every effort and attempt at having a united Africa. While we are at it, support our work by kindly hitting the thumb button. Share with friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening Black narrative. And subscribe to stay with us for more interesting, revealing videos. Let us delve in. After the fall of Tripoli to forces of the opposition National Transitional Council, NTC, in August 2011, Gaddafi and his family escaped the Libyan capital. Early in the morning of October 20th, 2011, Gaddafi, his army chief Abu Bakr Yunus Jabr, his security chief Mansour Dao, and a group of loyalists tried to escape in a convoy of 75 vehicles. A Royal Air Force Panavia Tornado, during a reconnaissance mission, spotted the convoy moving fast after NATO forces intercepted a satellite phone call made by Gaddafi. NATO aircraft then fired on 21 of the vehicles, destroying one. An American Predator drone controlled from a base near Las Vegas fired the first missiles at the convoy, hitting its target about 3 kilometers west of Sirte. A moment later, French Air Force Mirage 2000D fighter jets continued the bombing. The NATO bombing immobilized much of the convoy and killed dozens of loyalist fighters. After the first strike, the convoy split into several groups, with a subsequent strike destroying 11 vehicles. Rebel units on the ground also struck the convoy. Several videos related to the death were shown on television and circulated on the internet.
It had begun hours earlier, around 8 a.m. Thursday in Sirte, Gaddafi's hometown, when rebels started what they hoped would be the last offensive against the last Gaddafi holdouts. Then an American drone operated from Las Vegas alerts NATO. It spots a convoy of 80 cars fleeing south from Sirte. French fighter jets respond with an airstrike, taking out 2 of the vehicles. It's still unclear if they hit Gaddafi's car, but when rebels pour in, they tell the BBC's Gabriel Gatehouse he was hiding in this drainage pipe.
They say they discovered him here just before 12 o'clock this afternoon. They pulled him out of the hole. And one fighter told me that Muammar Gaddafi said to him, "What did I do to you?"
We kitchen there, and we shot him.
The fatal shot reportedly fired by this man, proudly brandishing Gaddafi's gold gun. Rebels reportedly propped Gaddafi on the hood of a car for minutes, apparently parading their prize through the streets. "We want him alive, we want him alive," one man was heard saying before Gaddafi was dragged off the hood towards an ambulance. But Gaddafi died in the ambulance.
U.S. military officials are telling us, in fact, that it was a U.S. military Predator drone that fired a Hellfire missile directly at Muammar Gaddafi's 15-vehicle convoy. In addition, one NATO warplane also fired a rocket at that missile at that very convoy. Now, according to the officials, several of the vehicles were either struck or disabled. The rest of them scattered. Now, it appears that Muammar Gaddafi was obviously in or near one of the vehicles that was struck, and it appears that what he did was make his way to a nearby drainage pipe alongside the highway where his rebel captors eventually found him, took him into custody, and that video where we actually see him alive and in custody of those rebel forces before he apparently died somehow in an ambulance on his way from Sirte to Misrata. Now, what's interesting about this, as you know, Martin, those Predator drones are not just there to fire missiles, but their primary mission is surveillance. So it's very likely, given the kind of intense fighting over Sirte and U.S. intelligence that said Muammar Gaddafi is in Sirte, that Predator drone was hovering over Sirte when Muammar Gaddafi made his way into that convoy and out of Sirte. So it is more likely than not that the U.S. military already knew that Muammar Gaddafi was in that convoy when they fired upon it, which, of course, raises the question about U.S. claims that they were not out to actually kill Muammar Gaddafi.
Indeed.
In this case, it appears they were.
And the West gloated. Even the then President of the United States, Barack Obama, was in the forefront. Incidentally, 2011 was not the first assassination attempt on Gaddafi by the West and its European allies. On 15th April 1986, the United States Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps carried out airstrikes, codenamed Operation El Dorado Canyon, against Libya in retaliation for the West Berlin discotheque bombing 10 days earlier, for which the then U.S. President Ronald Reagan blamed the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Did you notice that? 10 days earlier. Makes room for suspicion, as was expressed in many quarters. On the Libyan side, there were 45 soldiers and officials as casualties, 15 to 30 Libyan civilians killed. 1 U.S. plane was shot down and 2 aircrew killed. Though Libya claimed 3, one of the claimed Libyan deaths was of a baby girl, reported to be Gaddafi's daughter, Hana Gaddafi. However, there are doubts as to whether she was really killed or whether she truly existed. Even though Gaddafi was the target of the attack and was in the compound during the attack, he was able to survive. From North Africa to South, East to West, and Central, Africa has not been known to enjoy relative peace for a long period at a time. Ever since the conquest and slave trade era, with the eventual European countries meeting at the infamous Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 to partition and share Africa among themselves, it has been from one internal and inter-border crisis to another in Africa, mostly with the hidden hands of Europe and America, and in recent times, Russia and China. The Berlin Conference, which many have classified as the worst act of injustice and human rights violations, gathered a bunch of Europeans to plot ways to divide up Africa, may not have been the start of colonialism, or conquest as many have chosen to refer to it, but it sure accelerated the process. The conference was set out to achieve 3 objectives and consequences. First was to recognize the territory that King Leopold II claimed as his private property. Isn't that intriguing? Claiming what is today known as a country with indigenous people and landowners as someone else's private property? How funny. The second objective was to recognize some existing territorial claims in different parts of Africa. While the third and most important result of the conference was to set up a way for Europeans to claim and annex whatever territory was yet unaccounted for in Africa within the first and second objectives. In a pictorial illustration of the conference, all of the elements were there. It was a conference about Africa, but happening in a room in Berlin, Germany, with 0 Africans, and only 2 of the attendees had ever stepped foot on the continent, a continent which is about 3 times larger than Europe. Instead, it was a bunch of European men, representing 12 countries in Europe, plus an American representative and one from the Ottoman Empire. The room was dominated by a gigantic map of Africa. Why? Because the job the men at the conference had taken upon themselves was to divide up Africa between their respective countries. Before the Berlin Conference and then afterwards, the gruesomeness and cruelty have always been unimaginably out of this world to Africa, which they still see as personal and national conquests. But most especially in the 21st century, the sense of ownership has been more brazenly disastrous. So much so that anybody or any nation who dared to push for the idea of a united Africa must be taught a lesson, more than once, a fatal lesson. From the gruesome assassination of the likes of former Libyan ruler Muammar Gaddafi and others who have ever dared to vigorously push for the unification of Africa, to proliferation of arms and ammunitions, funding and equipping of insurrections and rebellions, coups and counter-coups, harboring dissidents and enemies of states, using international media and propagandas to misinform, disinform, instigate, and amplify crisis. The list goes on. And perhaps the worst of it all, impoverishing the continent directly and indirectly, and while claiming to help, use financial and economic means through Western institutions such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Funds, IMF, to insist on policies known to set Africans, nations, and governments against one another, the likes of which we recently witnessed in Ghana, Nigeria, and the smoldering one in Kenya. All these were what the late Libyan ruler wanted changed with a united African entity called African Authority. But the West knew the implications. Who lets a cash cow free? Gaddafi must have sealed his fate at the end of the 2010 African Union, AU, summit in Kampala, Uganda, where the Libyan leader said that his dream of a United States of Africa was still alive, and the week's African Union summit was another step toward that objective. Gaddafi has been pushing for an African unity government for years, saying it is the only way Africa can develop without Western interference. But many African states said that the idea was impractical and would encroach on their sovereignty. However, the West was apprehensive and jittery, especially because the push was coming from a North African state, and no less a person as Gaddafi. The prospect of a united Africa was becoming apparent, so much so that Gaddafi was reported to have mined tons of gold to securitize the eventual African uniform currency. At that stage, and with intelligence they had gathered, the West did not doubt one bit that he would not be able to pull it through. Remember that he had been able to secure goodwill of some African countries through millions of dollars in aid, while the heavyweights such as Nigeria and Ghana are traditional believers in the ideology. It was therefore a matter of defining technicalities and modalities over the next few summits, and the African Authority would have been realized. Hence, the ultimate solution to truncate the momentum was to take out the arrowhead. But first, there's always the need for propaganda and the engineering of insurrections as cover-up, as it was the case of those before him. The likes of Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, who was overthrown in a coup with the help from the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, while Patrice Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, President of Burkina Faso Thomas Sankara, Sylvanus Epifanio Olympio, the first President of Togo, and many others were assassinated for their anti-imperialist stance and efforts to promote Africa's self-sufficiency. At that point in the history of Libya, the country and citizens were the envy of the world, with the citizens enjoying better social welfare packages than many in Europe and America. Some of which are, number 1, Libya has no electricity bill. Electricity came free of charge to all citizens. Number 2, there were no interest rates on loans. The banks were state-owned. The loan of citizens by law, 0%. Number 3, Gaddafi promised not to buy a house for his parents until everyone in Libya owns a home. Number 4, all newlywed couples in Libya received 60,000 dinars from the government, and because of that, they bought their own apartments and started their families. Number 5, education and medical treatment in Libya are free. Before Gaddafi, there were only 25% readers, 83% during his reign. Number 6, if Libyans wanted to live on a farm, they received free household appliances, seeds, and livestock. Number 7, if they cannot receive treatment in Libya, the state would fund them with $2,300+ accommodation and travel for treatment abroad. Number 8, if you buy a car, the government finances 50% of the price. Number 9, the price of gasoline became $0.14 per liter. Number 10, Libya had no external debt, and reserves were $150 billion, now frozen worldwide. Number 11, since some Libyans can't find jobs after school, the government will pay the average salary when they can't find a job. Number 12, part of oil sales in Libya are directly linked to the bank accounts of all citizens. Number 13, the mother who gave birth to the child will receive $5,000. Number 14, 40 loaves of bread cost $0.15. Number 15, 25% of Libyans had all ILISNA diplomas. Number 16, Gaddafi has implemented the world's biggest irrigation project known as the Big Man Project to ensure water availability in the desert. In spite of all these and more, the West demonized Gaddafi, calling him a dictator. Like many commentators have asked afterwards that if these were called dictatorship, they wonder what democracy was. The West sold dummies to the Libyans, and they are today regretting their actions. Today, Libya is split between rival governments ruling different parts of the oil-rich country. Insurgent group ISIS, until recently, had seized parts of Sirte, only driven out by a government fightback.
We are in a period that is much worse than the last, and Libya is threatened with extinction,
said one resident.
After the previous regime fell, we hoped that with the will of God, things would be better because we expect a lot from our country. We hope that those who love their country will unite for reconciliation, to create national reconciliation. It's the only way for the country to be built, God willing,
said another resident. Presently, the situation in Libya is so deplorable, especially security-wise, that at the time of production of this video, home offices of many countries still warn their citizens from traveling there. Like the following from the Australian: we continue to advise, do not travel to Libya due to the dangerous security situation and the high threat of terrorism and kidnapping. If you're in Libya and it's safe to do so, leave as soon as possible. Due to the ongoing unrest, our ability to provide consular assistance to Australians in Libya is severely limited. There are similar concerns and warnings for safety, health, and local laws. Violent fighting is widespread and ongoing in Libya. The security situation is very unstable. There's a high threat of terrorist attack, kidnapping, and crime. Don't travel to Libya. If you stay in Libya, despite our advice, seek professional security advice. Monitor the media for possible risks. Waterborne, foodborne, parasitic, and other infectious diseases are common. They include typhoid, hepatitis, tuberculosis, plague, and measles. Only drink boiled or bottled water. Don't swim in fresh water. Medical facilities in Libya are limited. Some medicines are in short supply. If you're seriously ill or injured, you may need to be evacuated. Make sure of your insurance. The rule of law has not been re-established in Libya. Police services may not operate in all areas. Officials may seize your passport if you're involved in a business dispute. They may not let you leave Libya until the dispute is settled, and many more.
Libya, that was literally a paradise in the desert, has been turned into hell.
A longtime immigrant blotted. Back to events unfolding from the 2010 African Union Summit. Like previous African summits, the week's gathering in the Ugandan capital, Kampala, discussed steps toward creating an African government. But the issue was overshadowed by chaos in Somalia and an international arrest warrant for Sudan's president. While addressing a small group of reporters in Kampala at the end of the summit, Gaddafi said, and I quote,
"I am satisfied that Africa is going along its historic and right road."
He went further.
"One day it will become similar to the United States of America. We are approaching the formation of the African Authority, and each time we solve African problems and also move in the direction of peace and unity. We deal with problems step by step. We are continuing to do that."
The creation of the African Authority must not see the light of the day. The West realized that they could not shrug away Gaddafi's attempts at uniting Africa. The same way it slipped by them when the then Organization of African Unity, OAU, morphed into African Unity with the first move made in Sirte, a major city in same Gaddafi's Libya. Same Sirte he was eventually murdered in. Watching the turn of events as pushed by Gaddafi, power brokers from Western countries in Europe must have realized that Gaddafi's united Africa was going beyond a joke, that they could not afford the mistake of watching OAU transforming to AU to repeat itself, that the formation of a united African body would spell doom for their hold on the continent they have held by the jugular for centuries. It was at that point that Gaddafi's fate not to push his agenda further must have been sealed as the West made sure that he was assassinated just about a year later. And a few months after the 2011 AU summit, Gaddafi held the African Union's rotating chairmanship the previous year, 2009, and he used it to push for the organization's small executive body to be granted enhanced powers and remodeled as the African Authority. Asked about that proposal during the summit, Gaddafi said,
"Studies are still continuing, and it is not finished yet. Experts and the people responsible are still studying the documents. They might be completed at the next summit or after."
Some African leaders say they cannot be expected to cede sovereignty to any African bloc just decades after they wrested it away from their colonial rulers. The next summit or after? Fear must have gone down the spines of the Western and European powers. Fears which were made more real because Gaddafi's idea has had a sympathetic response in some states, helped by his reputation in parts of the continent as a champion of the developed world, and also by the millions of dollars in aid his oil-exporting country spends in Africa. As if Gaddafi was oblivious of the dangers his push for a united Africa held and was creating for him, his push at the 2011 summit was equally strong. But perhaps his most daring attempt was in the week leading to the 2007 African Union Summit, held in Accra, Ghana. Speaking at a rally at the University of Ghana on the eve of the summit, Gaddafi said AU leaders had not yet achieved the dream of unity voiced half a century ago by Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, founding father of African independence. And that for Africa, it was a matter of to be or not to be. Accra was the last stop in a week-long road trip by Gaddafi to the summit via the West African capitals of Bamako, Conakry, Freetown, and Abidjan. At each stop, he held rallies calling for the establishment of a government of the United States of Africa.
"Africa needed one voice and one army,"
Gaddafi said.
"How can an African country face a Europe that is united, negotiate with a big USA or Japan or China?"
He said.
"If we have a United States of Africa, then Africa can be on an equal footing and negotiate with them. Uniting the continent would also staunch the flow of migrants to Europe,"
Gaddafi said. Obviously, the West would not want any of these achieved. Through the 1990s, leaders debated the need to amend the OAU's structures to reflect the challenges of a changing world. In 1999, the OAU heads of state and government issued the Sirte Declaration, calling for the establishment of a new African Union. The vision for the Union was to build on the OAU's work by establishing a body that could accelerate the process of integration in Africa, support the empowerment of African states in the global economy, and address the multifaceted social, economic, and political problems facing the continent. In total, 4 summits were held in the lead-up to the official launching of the African Union. Sirte Summit, 1999, which adopted the Sirte Declaration calling for the establishment of the AU. Lomé Summit, 2000, which adopted the AU Constitutive Act. Lusaka Summit, 2001, which drew the roadmap for implementation of the AU. Durban Summit, 2002, which launched the AU and convened its first assembly of heads of state and government. A significant number of OAU structures were carried forward into the AU. Similarly, many of the OAU's core commitments, decisions, and strategy frameworks continue to frame AU policies. However, while the footprint of the OAU is still strong, the AU Constitutive Act and protocols established a significant number of new structures, both at the level of major organs and through a range of new technical and subsidiary committees. Many of these have evolved since 2002, and some are still under development. With the death scare circling the head of everyone and anyone who pushed for a free and united Africa, does it mean that the dream has been killed? Especially with the last and boldest attempts in the struggle being Gaddafi. With the turn of fortune and calamity that have befallen Libya, would any African leader or head of state dare to champion the cause of a free and united Africa, thereby putting his or her country in the crossfire? The idea of a United States of Africa, or a more united Africa in general, has been a topic of discussion for many years, and perspectives on this concept vary widely. It's important to note that the reasons for resistance or skepticism towards the idea of a United States of Africa are complex and multifaceted, and there isn't a single unified Western perspective on this issue. However, some potential reasons that have been discussed in the past include: number 1, historical context. Historically, Western powers have had a long history of involvement in Africa, including colonization and exploitation of the continent's resources. Some critics argue that a united and strong Africa could potentially challenge the economic and political interests of certain Western countries or multinational corporations operating in the region. Number 2, political and economic interests. Some observers suggest that a more united Africa could present a challenge to the existing global power structures, potentially shifting the balance of power in international relations. This could lead to concerns about the impact on trade relationships, access to resources, and geopolitical influence. Number 3, concerns about stability and governance. Africa is a diverse continent with many different cultures, languages, and political systems. Some skeptics of the United States of Africa concept worry about the practical challenges of uniting such a diverse region under a single political entity. There are concerns about governance, stability, and the potential for internal conflicts within a united African state. Number 4, sovereignty and self-determination. Some critics argue that advocating for a United States of Africa could be seen as imposing a specific vision of unity on African nations, potentially infringing on their sovereignty and right to self-determination. There are concerns that a top-down approach to unity could overlook the diverse needs and aspirations of individual African countries. It's important to recognize that these are just some of the factors that have been discussed in relation to the idea of a United States of Africa. And opinions on this topic may vary widely within both Western and African contexts. Ultimately, the question of whether a united Africa is desirable or feasible is a complex issue that involves considerations of history, politics, economics, culture, and governance. While many observers have excused the West for the inability of Africa to unite, blaming rather Africa and Africans themselves, because of their lack of homogeneity, supremacy competition, and power struggles. Many on the other divide believe that Africans would have found ways to resolve most of their divisions, if not for the superior influences based on exploitative interests of the West.
Shalom, Aki, Yahweh Bahashem, Mashiach, Yahweh Shabbarakatham. I just saw your message there. Yeah, I was just doing some video review, ended up not going in the office this evening, so I get to some work. So man, get you in here. I got one more video to review after this. Let me see you a link. Let's get back to it.
After all, is Europe homogeneous, nor America? The colonialists care nothing for Africa for her own sake. They are attracted by African riches, and their actions are guided by the desire to preserve their interests in Africa against the wishes of the African people. For the colonialists, all means are good if it helps them to possess these riches. Those are the words of Patrice Lumumba, first Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Also citing instances where the West and Europe have been implicated in disastrous endings of Africans who have championed the cause. But first, let's put the topic in perspective. Given the size, population, distribution of tribes, and balkanization of Africa, no thanks to the same West, having a united Africa in comparison to the United States of America is practically impossible. But taking a cue from a recent statement from Aliko Dangote, the Nigerian business mogul and richest man in Africa, the continent may be heading for a hybrid version.
Finally, really quickly, we talk a lot about the African Continental Free Trade Area, the ability for goods and services to move across the continent. Mr. Dangote, you have previously complained about the difficulty of traveling on a Nigerian passport across the continent. Has it become easier?
Even an hour ago, I complained to President Kagame.
At least you can come here visa-free.
No, here is the best example, but I told him that, yes, as an investor, as somebody who really wants to make Africa great, I have to now apply 35 different visas on my passport. And I told Mr. President, I said, Mr. President, I really don't have the time to go and be dropping my passports in embassies to get a visa. But you see, the most annoying thing is that, yes, if you are treating everybody the same, then I can understand. You know, I can assure you, Patrick doesn't need 35 visas. No, I said that. What I'm saying, you
don't need 35 visas on a French passport compared to a Nigerian passport.
35 visas on French passport.
No.
But, so which means you have a freer movement than myself.
Dangote has to have 35 visas to travel around the continent, while foreigners have freer movement within Africa. Similarly, citizens of Francophone countries in Africa have better ease of movement within their co-Francophones. Flying from Kenya to Namibia is the same price as flying to Thailand. Imagine the nightmare that people face when traveling around a continent that has more borders than any other continent on Earth. 166. Such difficulties make it hard for African entrepreneurs to establish businesses outside their countries. With the enactment of an African passport in the near future, people can have access to new investment opportunities outside their countries. Furthermore, African countries usually don't get fair deals when trading with countries outside the continent, due to the fact that they have a lower negotiating power. This is what happens to countries that aren't positioned well economically or politically. With a free flow of trade, the continent can create the largest trading bloc in the world. Perhaps even more, the largest ever seen. This can come with an adoption of a single currency and the ditching of the CFA franc in former French colonies. Something similar to the ideology target of Gaddafi. The idea on ease of trade within the continent has been put into practice, in part, through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, ACFTA. It allows for the free movement of people, goods, and services within Africa. Goods with more than 60% value addition at an African origin are subject to no tariffs within the continent. 44 countries out of the 54 members of the African Union signed the agreement in 2018. It kicked in when 22 countries ratified it with local law. Efforts should be intensified to have more members join the ACFTA, and maybe to improve on the value content. The most challenging would be the visa restrictions and single currency, something similar to the euros. But as they say, Rome was not built in a day. Maybe within the next decade, the continent would be more united and freer from the hold of the West, thereby bringing the dreams of many who had died in the struggle to fruition. Let's hope that we live to witness the day. That brings us to the end of yet another video segment. Did you happen to learn a thing or two from this one? Reach out to us in the comment section below to share your thoughts. We are always delighted to pick from them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned in. Thank you for watching.
All right, so here's the thing, real quick, before we jump to the next video about the United Africa. United Africa won't work. It'll never work. Reason why United Africa never work is because Africa is, first of all, the only reason that the United States has worked to the degree that it was is because it's a wicked place meant to build off of slavery and evil and theft and robbery and all manner of wrongdoing. And the scriptures say, woe to the city, I believe it's the city that's built with blood. And that's exactly what this place is built on. It's built on blood. It's built on evil. It's built on wickedness. It's built on wrongdoing, doing people bad. So you can't copy a place like that and hoping that you can make something good. You're still looking at the end result and are hoping to get the end result. But in reality, what you're going to end up with is you're going to have to go about it the same way that they went about it. And if you try to deviate from that program, you're not going to get the result that you want. So that's why that wouldn't work. What will work is a united Congo. Congo can be united because Congo is comprised of Bantu people. So the Bantu people can unite under one because they're all the same people. You can add the Igbo people in with the Congo people, with the Bantu people, because they're the same people. So you add the Igbo, the Congo, the Hebrew, it's like I'm saying it wrong. You unite the Bantu, the Igbo, the Hebrews, and all of the rest of the children of Israel in the land of Congo. And it's a united Congo, or it's one Congo. Then yes, you can have, that will work because the people will unite under one, it's the same family. It's the same family of people, extended family, but it's the same family of people. So the purpose should be the same. You have to unite under the same ideology, under the same thinking, under the same headship. But you can't unite a continent like that because it's too diverse. It's too many different possibilities. It's too many different ideologies. It's too much different. You got the children of Ham. You got the children of Shemitic people there. You got Hamitics. You got Shemitics. You got Japhetic people. Some are there. You got all people there. So I mean, how in the world are you going to get a resolution when everybody's there? How are you going to unite on anything? You can't unite on anything because everything is different one from another. So you got nothing but diversity. So there's no way you can unite on anything when everything is diverse. That's not going to work. That's not a realistic idea. It's noble. Seems like it should be a good situation, but in reality, it's really not going to work because it's too many possibilities. So, all right, let's get to the last video here. And man, this has been good so far. Shout out to Black journalists once again for the great work that they've done in putting together these videos for us to review. I've learned more about Muammar Gaddafi than I know. Him being the president of Libya, I can see how Libya could have been in such a good place because they had some good leadership. And Muammar Gaddafi, he took care of his people as a good leader should, as a good ruler should. You should be taking care of your people. And that's really what the people fear. So if you can unite your people under your banner, and you can get a lot accomplished. And that's what it takes to make a successful rulership. Uniting your people under your banner. That's why these countries with such big places where they got so many different people, diversities of people in there coming in, that's why it's problematic, because it's just too much to really get a, what's the term I'm looking for? Where you're on one accord, to be united. It's a lot to be united. It's hard to unite people under such differences. You're taking all these different people. You want to unite Arabs with Hamitic people. You got the 4 sons of Ham and all of their children. And generations, thousands of years later, they didn't spread into various tribes. And now you want these people to unite with Shemitic people, some of which are the children of Israel, some of which are the children of Aram, some of which are other Ibrahim, other children of Yaktan, children of, well, Yaktan probably not over there in the Buttons. I think he's mostly in Arabia. But the point of the matter is you just trying to unite all these people, and it's too difficult. It just wouldn't, it's not an ideal setup. So, all right, third video here. We're on an extended video review. Third video comes to us from the Akeem over at So Much Media. Now, these are brothers in the truth. These are good brothers. Shout out to you, brothers. Salute to the brothers who make these videos. So Much Media. Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, Barakatah. To all you brothers over there. And many thanks and great appreciation for the work that you're doing. This is Hazaki Yahu, Army of Yah, HOI, it's like AOI. Shout out to Priest Zabach and HOI. I was trying to mention my own group that we're working on building up, as opposed to yours over there. But shout out to them over there for doing they great work. But yeah, these brothers at Africa, the land of milk and honey. That's this last video. You can see it's a short video, less than 13 minutes. So we're gonna jump to it and get through it here. Here we go.
Africa, the land of milk and honey. Africa has a rich history and deep spiritual connection to the Israelites. The land which many believe to be the land of Yahuwah has experienced colonization, division, and numerous conflicts. Its people have been stolen from their homeland, and the land itself has been ravaged. Yet, according to the scriptures, there is a promise of redemption and restoration for the children of Israel, who have endured unimaginable hardships. Today, we will discover the truth about the land of Africa and the divine promise of restoration for its people. The prophetic history of Africa. From ancient times, Africa has been a land of abundance. In Genesis 2 verses 10 to 13, the Garden of Eden, often associated with the region near the Nile River in Africa, is described as being filled with gold, bdellium, and onyx stone. This region's rich resources have always been coveted, leading to the colonization and exploitation by foreign powers. Moreover, Africa's significance is highlighted in the story of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. In 1 Kings 10 verses 1 to 2, the Queen of Sheba visits Solomon, bringing with her gold, spices, and precious stones, further emphasizing Africa's wealth and its connection to the wisdom and blessings of Yahuwah.
Salakia, I was under the impression that the Queen of Sheba came from Arabia, not from the continent. I may be mistaken about that, and maybe I'm mistaken, but I was under the ideology that the Queen of Sheba came over from Arabia, not from the continent. So let's continue.
The transatlantic slave trade echoed the ancient prophecies of Israel's suffering and displacement. The suffering and scattering of the Israelites. The history of the Israelites is marked by suffering and displacement. Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 foretells the scattering of the Israelites, and Yahuwah will take you back to Egypt, which means bondage, and ships, by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again. And there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. Meaning no one will save you from it. This prophecy has manifested in the transatlantic slave trade, where millions of Africans, who are the descendants of the ancient Israelites, they were forcibly taken to distant lands and sold into slavery. The suffering of the Israelites in Egypt in this captivity are a continuation of their bondage due to disobedience and are enduring challenges faced by Yahuwah's people. Psalm 137 verses 1 to 4 pointedly captures the sorrow of exile. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yeah, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hung our harps upon the willows in the midst of it. For there those who carried us away captive asked of us a song, and those who plundered us requested mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing Yahuwah's song in a foreign land? Even amidst global deceit and sorcery, divine protection over Israel is assured. The nations' attempts to destroy the Israelites. In the last days, the nations will seek to destroy the Israelites using all kinds of sorceries and deceit. Revelation 18 verse 23 speaks of this deception. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. Despite these attempts, Yahuwah promises salvation and protection for his people. Isaiah 54 verse 17 declares, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahuwah, and their righteousness is from me, says Yahuwah. Ephesians 6 verse 12 reminds us of the spiritual nature of this battle, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. This verse underscores the spiritual warfare that the Israelites face and the divine protection promised to them. Psalms 83 reveals the ancient conspiracy against Israel and the call for divine justice. The plot of the nations, Psalms 83. Psalms 83 provides a detailed account of the intentions of the nations against Israel. It is a prayer for help against those who conspire against Yahuwah's people. The psalmist writes in Psalms 83 verses 2 to 4, for behold, your enemies make a tumult, and those who hate you have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted together against your hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. This conspiracy reflects the enduring enmity against the Israelites, aimed at their complete destruction. Yet, the psalm ends with a call for divine intervention and justice, as seen in Psalms 83 verses 17 to 18. Let them be confounded and dismayed forever. Yes, let them be put to shame and perish, that they may know that you, whose name alone is Yahuwah, are the most high over all the earth. The fall of Edom and the rise of Jacob. A prophecy of divine justice and triumph. The end of Esau and Edom. The scriptures also speak of the end of Esau and Edom and the rise of Jacob, signifying the ultimate triumph of the Israelites. In Obadiah 1 verse 18, we read, "The house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, but the house of Esau shall be stubble. They shall kindle them and devour them, and no survivor shall remain of the house of Esau, for Yahuwah has spoken." This verse highlights the destruction of Esau's descendants and the rise of Jacob's lineage. Malachi 1 verse 4 reinforces this, stating, "Even though Edom is said, 'We have been impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places,' thus says Yahuwah of hosts, 'They may build, but I will throw down. They shall be called the territory of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahuwah will have indignation forever.'" Amid global conflict over Africa's resources, Yahuwah's promise of restoration for Israel shines brightly. The nations gather in the land of Yahuwah. In the last days we expect that the nations will seek to control Africa, with its vast land and wealth. The struggle for control of Africa's resources, oil, minerals, and land, could ignite tensions among the world's superpowers. These conflicts are driven by greed and power. Yet, amidst the chaos, there is a glimmer of hope for the Israelites. The Bible foretells a time of restoration and renewal for Yahuwah's chosen people. The prophets spoke of a new world where the Israelites would return to their ancestral land, free from oppression and suffering. This new world is not merely a geographical location, but a divine promise of peace, justice, and righteousness. As nations clash and world powers vie for dominance, the Israelites are called to stand firm in their faith. The promise of Yahuwah's protection and guidance offers a beacon of hope. The scriptures remind us that Yahuwah is sovereign over all nations and that his plans will ultimately prevail. When Israel turns back to Yahuwah, divine healing and restoration will follow. When the children of Israel turn back to Yahuwah, he will heal them in their land. 2 Chronicles 7 verse 14 provides a profound promise. "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, and pray and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin and heal their land." This turning back is echoed in Jeremiah 24 verse 7. "Then I will give them a heart to know me, that I am Yahuwah, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim, for they shall return to me with their whole heart." The return to Yahuwah and his commandments will usher in a period of healing and restoration, not only for the people but for the land of Africa itself. Ezekiel 36 verses 24 to 28 also speaks of this restoration. "For I will take you from among the nations, gather you out of all countries, and bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all your filthiness and from all your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you will keep my judgments and do them. Then you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers. You shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim." Trusting in Yahuwah's plan for his people. Trusting in Yahuwah's plan means having faith that he has a purpose for each individual and for his people as a whole, and that this purpose is ultimately for good, even when circumstances seem challenging. This trust is rooted in the belief that Yahuwah is sovereign, wise, and loving. Isaiah 46 verse 10 states, "Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. emphasizing his ultimate authority and control. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 advises, trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. This means relying on his greater wisdom rather than our limited perspective. The oppressors of Israel will face divine retribution for their sins against the children of Israel, as promised by Yahuwah. The wrath of Yahuwah on the oppressors. The nations that have oppressed the Israelites will face the wrath of Yahuwah. Isaiah 14 verses 1 to 2 says, For Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob, and will still choose Israel, and settle them in their own land. The strangers will be joined with them, and they will cling to the house of Jacob. Then people will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them for servants and maids in the land of Yahuwah. They will take them captive whose captives they were, and rule over their oppressors. This theme is reiterated in Jeremiah 30 verse 16. Therefore all those who devour you shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. Those who plunder you shall become plunder, and all who prey upon you I will make a prey. Yahuwah's justice will prevail, and the oppressors will face retribution for their actions. Psalm 149 verses 6 to 9 speaks of the triumph of the righteous. Let the high praises of Yahuwah be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance on the nations, and punishments on the peoples, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute on them the written judgment. This honor have all his saints.
All the saints.
Praise Yahuwah.
Hallelujah.
The story of Africa and its people is one of pain and promise. The scriptures provide a narrative of hope, where the children of Israel, once scattered and oppressed, will be gathered and restored. Yahuwah's judgment will come upon those who have oppressed his people, and his mercy will bring healing and restoration. As we reflect on these promises, we are reminded of the enduring faithfulness of Yahuwah and the hope that lies in turning back to him. May the words of the prophet Hosea be a reminder. Come, let us return to Yahuwah, for he is torn, but he will heal us. He is stricken, but he will bind us up. Hosea 6 verse 1. The vision of a restored and healed Africa, where the children of Israel return to their heritage, is not merely a distant dream, but a divine promise rooted in Scripture. As we witness the unfolding of these prophetic events, we are called to trust in Yahuwah's plan and seek his face, knowing that he is faithful to fulfill his word. May your name be glorified in all the earth. Thank you, Father, for the gift of life. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
In the name of the Holy One of Israel, the Messiah, amen. Father, amen.
Praises to the Abba. Another wonderful video by our good brothers over at So Much Media. Hallelujah. Praise you, Abba, for another opportunity to get into more good information. So I mentioned before about the unification of Congo, of the Bantu people, of the Hebrew people, of the Igbo people, all the children of Israel who could unite under Congo. How that would work. That would absolutely work. And that's what it would take in order to cause a united Congo, a united Kebulan. You can't unite Kebulan with various people to be who they are, because those people are going to clash. You have to eliminate the clash. The only way to eliminate the clash is for the people to be of one mind. Even the unification of the other people. Psalms 83. These people have one mind. They're unified in one thought, in one mind, in one way of thinking. That's the only way you're going to have any kind of reasonable unification. You cannot unify in variations of ideologies or doctrines. The only way you can do that is with wickedness. Because who who's going to prevail? Whose idea is going to prevail? So you got to deal with you got to deal with what's real and with what needs to be taken care of. But man, magnificent video. Tola Rabah Abu Yahuwah for brothers who make these great videos, and we're able to review, and we're able to get some glean any kind of knowledge, any kind of understanding, any kind of highlights of information for us. All right. I'm gonna add one more video here. I wasn't gonna put this one on here, but you know what? I'm gonna add another video. Praises to the Abba, man. It's a fifth day evening, and Yaak is man. I'm feeling good. You know, I wasn't feeling so good earlier. I wasn't feeling real good earlier, but I'm feeling good now. And I'm gonna add my dear Adawan out of HOI. Our elder brother Zabach. Zabach. And man, it's always good if you've not had the opportunity to meet or speak with this elder. Good brother, man. Good brother. Good brother. And put a little add his video to us here. And these brothers was out in the street, and we had the opportunity to go out and break bread with these brothers. And good brothers, man. You know, you never know a brother just looking at them on a video or whatever the case. It takes a lot more than that to get to know them. Link in the description box. I've made changes to it. I'm updating it, and we're about to jump to this next video. This is the Elder Zabach. Now, before I jump there, I do want to talk about some things here. We're on the back end of the sister being executed in her home by the police officer who murdered her in cold blood, shot her in the face in her kitchen after telling her to go and turn off the very pot that he killed her for. And I was appalled by this fella. I'm sure many of those who watched Indisputable were completely appalled by this fella who said that the officer was justified in his shooting of this woman in her face in her house, rather than him moving out of the way. Now, here's the thing. I'm not gonna put this whole video on here, but I am gonna highlight a piece of it here, because it is infuriating to find a so-called Negro who would say the most asinine things about his own people, that somehow, some way, this woman threw a pot at these police, which would justify him firing a deadly bullet into her face. What kind of off-brand Negro would say something so asinine that a woman with mental health problems who they were there to help, that somehow a pot or hot water, boiling water, would justify a bullet to the face. So, to put things in proper perspective, I myself, Hazaki Yahoo, can in no way go to anyone's house, take out my weapon, and shoot them in the face and expect that everything's going to be all right. I can in no wise think possibly that somehow, some way, that is going to go well for me, because it will not go well. It will, in fact, end up as my demise. But the fact that they would get a so-called black man who would find justification of a so-called white man coming into a so-called black woman's residence and telling her to deal with the hot water and then execute her with a gunshot to the face after the fact, that is so appalling. That is so beyond anything reasonable, that this simple, deranged, confused Negro would say such a deplorable thing about someone of his own people. That tells us that, man, we in times and instances, our people don't give a damn about us. And that is beyond, that is so far beyond anything that is reasonable. So I'm gonna pull this video up here. I want you to see this. This is so asinine. This is so far beyond anything that's
has gone on record to suggest that the officer who killed Sonya Massey was justified. The other officer is on record saying he was not. In my opinion, obviously, it is well known. I believe this cop committed murder. Now, I'm going to remind you of the video and provide the context. We'll get into our discussion. Here it is.
The body camera video reveals the events leading up to the horrific scene.
What took you so long to answer the door?
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry.
You doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine and stuff.
All right. Okay.
I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Inside the home, Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson can be heard asking Sonya Massey to check on the stove.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
Within seconds, things become tense.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
Rebuke you in the name of
God, that's where I got you traitor.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Massey starts to set down the pot and apologizes. Grayson fires 3 times, striking her in the face.
Headshot woman to female, 1078.
Prosecutors say Grayson's partner tried to give the 36-year-old first aid, even though Grayson discouraged him.
I'm gonna go get my kit. No, bitch, you're done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Let's put up this screenshot for mass. Civil rights lawyer John H. Bryan gave a breakdown of the events of the shooting, referencing the body cam of both cops. At 1:20 and 44 seconds, switching to Deputy Grace's body cam, we can see that at this time, the first time being told to drop the effing pot, Sonya raises her hands in the air and says, "I'm sorry." You can see that image there. We made a still for your review. Zooming in, we can see Sonya is not holding the pot that she's being ordered at gunpoint to drop. These are facts. The pot is on the stove, clearly seen. And Sonya has oven mitts in her hands, clearly seen. She also appears to be covering her ears and afraid. And Grayson shouts at her, "Drop the effing pot." The civil rights lawyer notes 120 and 45. Sonya ducks down. At this moment, you hear the other deputy draw his pistol. He also yells at Sonya, "Drop the pot." So now 2 cops are screaming at her to drop a pot she's not holding. Ladies and gentlemen, these are facts. 2 cops are screaming at her to drop a pot she is not holding. We have the evidence, okay? Go to the next one. At 120, 45 seconds. Switching back to Deputy Grayson's body.
Slacky, 1 second. I gotta say this as a man. If you're not holding something that can kill me, if you're not holding something that can cause me to die, you're not a threat to me. If you don't have a firearm, you're not a threat to me. A pot of water, hot, boiling, whatever, is not a threat to my life. Never is a pot of hot water a threat to my life. Never. And for any man to take out a firearm and shoot a woman in mental health necessities. I work with mental health people daily. I work at a psych clinic. They come in daily acting crazy because they are crazy. They have mental health problems. They come in to see a psychiatrist. I work in a psychiatrist's office. I work hand in hand with psychiatry. Sometimes I'm having conversations with people. I have to remember this is a psych patient. This is a psych patient. This is a psych patient. This is not a normal person. I can't expect this person to behave normally. I have to tell myself this. I don't have the luxury of fighting or shooting somebody that I don't agree with. I have to speak to them. I have to talk to them. I have to try to calm them in their situations, in their circumstances. This is with their medical situations. This is not me in their house. This is in their medical situations. These police were going to see about a possible disturbance, a prowler, outside of the residence. They checked the residence, didn't find a prowler. They should have said, "We checked everything out. Everything is good. You need us, give us a call back." And went on about their ways. Instead, they end up in the doggone house where this man executed this woman with his firearm. There is no way in the earth that I can, myself in this situation, can go through this sequence of events and it come out and I'm somehow justified. It won't happen. It will not happen. We saw that with the African cat who killed the white woman in I believe it was in Minnesota. He's in prison. Tried to say he was scared. He was startled. Shot this woman and she did. And guess what? He in prison. One of the sons of Ham, I believe he was a Somalian cat. I believe, I may be mistaken. He was not a Bantu Somali. He was a African Somali, I believe. He's in prison. Only they get to do things like that. Wickedness. Go into people's places and execute them. And I know he's got a trial coming up. I get all that. But I wouldn't be doggone surprised if he walks free. Much like many of the murderers of our people have walked free. Because they kill us and they hold themselves not guilty. Let's continue the video.
Cam, at that exact second, you can clearly see conclusively that Sonya did not take the pot with her when she dug down. It's still sitting on the counter. This is a zoomed in screenshot of that same still, showing the pot is not in Sonya's possession. As she is ducking down in fear and confusion, she was undergoing a mental health crisis, thinking a prowler was at the home. 1:20:46. Let's switch back to Grayson's body cam, which has a better view. When the other deputy joins Grayson in aiming their guns at Sonya and shouting at her, drop the pot that she's not holding. Once again, there's the pot circled for you. Let's speed up 1 second. Now I'm at 1:20:47. Deputy Grayson then begins to advance forward towards Sonya Massey, who has not moved from her position. She is ducking down on her kitchen floor as if she's somehow the perpetrator. Grayson is the one who begins to move. Instead of away from a perceived threat, he moves towards Sonya.
Exactly. Exactly. Not only if he's concerned about hot water, you wearing a bulletproof vest and you scared of hot flipping water, hot water, you got on a bulletproof vest, you got on steel-toe shoes, boots, and all kind of protective gear, and you afraid of hot water, you in the wrong profession, because life is way harder than that. It's way more things for me to be concerned about when I'm on the streets, when I'm driving the freeway, when I'm going about my business, than hot water. Hot water is the last thing. It's not even on my radar of things to be concerned about. And I don't give a doggone if somebody got it in their hand, if they could throw it on me. I ain't worried about no hot water. That's ridiculous. By the time she had took that pot off, that water wasn't even hot. As hot as it wasn't even boiling anymore. That water was already cooling off through this whole situation. And instead of him moving away from the hot water threat, he moves towards it. And yet let's continue. Let's get to what the man was talking about, the so-called Negro.
Okay. 1:20:47, switching back to Deputy Grayson's body cam. This is what he saw, which appears to be Sonya Massey going from being crouched with no pot to reaching up, grabbing the pot, mid-steel on her hands, and then holding the pot over her head. Could it be?
Which is a sign of mental problems. Who puts a pot over the head? A hot boiling pot. She wasn't scared of it, but he's so scared that you got to shoot her in the face. Let's continue.
That she grabbed the pot, held it over her head because they kept telling her to drop the pot that she did not have in her hands. 1:20:48, switching again to the other deputy's body cam now. After Grayson shoots Massey, who did not threaten to throw water on anyone, you see what appears to be steaming water hit the officer's chair at lower left of the kitchen floor. That's when you saw water. CBS News previously reported Grayson pleaded guilty twice to DUI prior to becoming a cop. He served at 6 different departments in 4 years, and that he was discharged from the U.S. Army in 2016 from the Fort Riley Army installation in Kansas for serious misconduct. They refused to name the exact nature of the misconduct, only called it serious. One of the incidents in which Grayson is accused of having trouble obeying orders happening during his 5th police job with the Logan County Sheriff's Office, where he worked from May 2022 to April 2023. Grayson refused an order by a superior to terminate a high-speed chase in the state, 121 over traffic infraction in which his speed at times reached 110 miles per hour. He's putting other people in danger. He refused a direct order. Grayson told his superiors he was about to terminate the pursuit, but he did not. Audio recordings obtained by CBS News also show superior officers were worried about Grayson's behavior, and a recording released by the Logan County Sheriff's Office, where Grayson worked from May 2022 to April 2023. A supervising officer is heard admonishing Grayson for what the senior officer said was his lack of integrity, for lying on his police reports, and for what he calls official misconduct. The sheriff and I will not tolerate lying or deception, he says in the recording. The officer tells him in the audio recording of a November 2022 meeting obtained by CBS News. At one point, the supervising officer warns Grayson that officers like you have been charged and they end up in jail, end quote. And that's exactly where his ass is at. Now, let's talk about it openly. On the panel, I have Leon Taylor, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, retired with over 20 years of experience, also a retired Baltimore police officer. And we have Officer Brandon Tatum, a former member of SWAT, CEO of 3 companies, and he is known for his YouTube channel talking about police conduct. Gentlemen, thank you both for being on the program.
Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Now, this fellow over to the left-hand side of the screen here, this is the culprit. This is the brother who will say that somehow this man was justified in executing this woman with mental health problems. Again, Hazakiyahu, I know good and well, if this was reversed, if I was a man walking into someone's residence, they pick up a pot of hot water, I cannot justify shooting this person in the face with my firearm and expect to walk free. There's no way in the earth that that's going to happen. No way. Unless this person is, well, let me stop, because that wouldn't even happen. You can't threaten me with a pot and my reaction is a gun. That is ridiculous. That is so unequal. That's like you punching me and I'm gonna pull out my gun and shoot you. If you punch me, I'm gonna defend myself, but I'm not gonna pull out my gun. I don't need a gun at every turn to defend myself. You know, there was an episode of The Simpsons where Homer had gotten a gun and he was doing the most ridiculous things with his gun. And that's a depiction of what happens in this society. People get these guns and they do the stupidest stuff with them. He was, instead of turning the light off, he would shoot the light to turn it off. Why would you? That's what we're dealing with here. People who would just use a gun like it's a doggone toothbrush or like it's a cane or something that just using it completely inappropriately. So let's continue.
Here's what I want to do. Officer Tatum, you have taken the position that this police officer is justified. I would like you to explain your position. Then I'm going to go to our other panelists for their opinion. What say you?
All right, so I want to make sure we're clear here. Justification is not, is he justified in the death of this young lady? Justification is the justified use of force. So I don't condone any of his actions before the shooting. I don't think he's a great officer with great reputation, and I'm not supporting him whatsoever. I'm saying that the use of force when she lunged at the police officers with the pot, the use of deadly.
I didn't see any lunge. I don't know what the hell he's talking about in the video. There was no lunge. So I don't know where he got that from. But let's continue.
Force was appropriate and justified in that particular instance.
What? Say that again?
That when she lunged at the police officers with the pot of boiling water, that Grayson was justified.
She lunged. I saw him step closer to her. I didn't see her lunge at all. So I don't know where he getting that from. I don't know why they didn't correct him on that.
And using deadly force against her.
Okay. So in your, I guess, estimation of what happened, she violently attacked the officer.
No, I didn't say she violently attacked the officer. She picked up the pot and she threw it in the direction of both officers. And out of fear of serious bodily injury, which is a part of the statute requirement, they can utilize deadly force to deter that threat. And that's what Grayson did in that instance. And that's why I believe it's justified.
You know, I could go back and forth with.
All right, that's all this I can take. I can't even do this stupid stuff. This is just ridiculous. Let's get to the elder. Let's get to the elder. I can't even go back and forth. I don't know how he kept him on his panel. I would have kicked his butt off my panel. He'd have been off my show. I wish I would have brought him on my show and he said some stupid stuff like that. Let's get to some good stuff here. Get edified with the elder bringing out the fire here. It's the elder Zabach. All video links in the description. Shout out to my elder brother, Shawpa of HOI, to the chariots fly. Shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shabbat Rakatah.
The white man do stuff to us because he know he can get away with it. Right? Come on. Neither oppress the afflicted. Neither oppress the afflicted. Go ahead. In the gate. In the gate. That sister seemed like they claim she has a little mental issue. Right? So don't you supposed to have what do we call it? Police sensitivity training. Right. All right. You should have sensitivity training on how to deal with situations like this where you don't have to use deadly force. You should have sensitivity training. But they don't look, just kill her. And we're gonna say she was bugged out. I thought she was gonna throw the water on you. Right, good? For the Lord will please their cause. What is that? Right, read on. For the Lord will please their cause. The Lord will please our cause, God. And spoil the soul of those that spoil them. So there you go. Don't worry about it. The Most High won't get out of it. Most High won't get out of it. And he's going to plead our cause, and he's going to spoil those that spoiled us. All right, that links up with Psalms 10. That was Psalms 10, and what we left off at? 7, I'm going into 8. Yeah, that was Proverbs 22:22 with Psalms 10, 7, and 8. Go back to Psalms 10. Please. The book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 8. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. The lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. In the secret place do he murder the innocent. Right? Come on. His eyes are privily set against the poor. So basically, he kills us because he can get away with it. That's basically what it's saying, right? Come on. Verse 9. It is privily because they act like, no, it's not like that. Right? We're just here to do our duty. But the damn FBI is telling us more white supremacists are joining police forces. Right? Come on. He lies in wait secretly as a lion in his den. Come on. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He does catch the poor when he draws him into his net. When he draws him, I tell you, man, the Bible is scary, man. Mm-hmm. Damn, the Bible. He draws the poor into his net. Right. He drew that sister in. Right. He lured her in to kill her. Right. He said, I'm going to use the hot water on the stove narrative. And I'm going to kill this sister, man. The Bible is real, man. Right? She asked if he told her there was a pot on the stove. Right, right. She asked, can she go in there and take it off? So when she went in there, that's when she spoke the name of Jesus, and I rebuke you. She was making fight with him. And he took it and ran with it. And it's right. Like you said, that's the scriptures coming to life, man. All right, he lined that sister up. Right, he set up the poor in the trap in the net. All right, I'm paraphrasing. It's like good. Verse 10. He crouches and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. By his strong ones, all right? And they use, the Illuminati, they use like the police forces are like the security guards of the street. That's what they do. They're like the street, look, keep the masses in order, keep the masses of the people in order, whatever the case may be. But man, that's what's going on. Jump back up to 2. I want to link verse 2 with Lamentations 5. When it says, you got the verse? Our next under persecution read. The book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 2. The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Read that, King.
Book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 5. Our necks are under persecution.
Our necks are constantly under persecution. Go ahead.
We labor and have no rest.
We labor and have no rest, man. We persecuted on these jobs. We persecuted in the system. We persecuted by the powers that be. We persecuted by the police. We persecuted by the government. Everything, man. Right? Didn't Kamala Harris say, I'm not going to just help black people? Right. But you help LGBT. But you help, you made an Asian crime bill. Right. You have what's that with the women, Me Too movement. You give all these damn rights to these feminists, but I'm not just going to help black people. Well, who the hell you going to help? Right? We don't need your damn help. We got the Most High. Right. You don't need your goddamn help. Come on. Who is this chick anyway, man? Right? You know what I'm saying? One minute she's Irish, one minute she's East Indian, the next minute she's Jamaican. Who is this chick, man? Right? America is finished, man. You know what I'm saying? Ever since by Shibba Mashiach, we rebuked that goddamn White House. It's been a fiasco with the damn government, man. You know what I'm saying? Biden think he's a strong black woman, right? His ass got COVID. They did the fake pack of ketchup assassination on Trump. And he pulled out a pack of ketchup and squirted it across his ear. And his head face him out. And said, keep fighting. Damn fake ass assassination attempt, man. The Secret Service is more secure than that. I've did studies on Secret Service security. They cover everything wherever president is going to be. They cover everything for miles. His ass ain't going to be no 400 feet away on top of that damn rainbow roof, and he got a clear shot at you. Come on, man. Fake damn assassination attempt, man. But anyway, go back to Psalms chapter 10, man. Go back to Psalms 10. Right? It's a 3-ring circus, man. A 3-ring circus. Right? And when you check it out, that's the Most High mocking America, man. He mocking this place. And I see our people, they're not spiritual enough to see, you know what? This letting us know that this place is going down. We need to turn to the Lord. Right. You know what I'm saying? This nigga Van Jones want to cry. Like he took me out of the puppy litter and gave me a job and gave me a chance. And I was smack that nigga across his ball, damn head. What's wrong with that nigga? He took me out of the, give me real quick, give me Proverbs 17:15, man. Get a coon scripture, man.
Stop it.
He took me out of the puppy litter and gave me a chance. Yo, where they get these niggas from? Yo. And you know what? You know what it is? You gotta look at that. That's deep, right? They had to show a major, Van Jones is pretty known. They had to show a major black figure crying over Biden. I don't even think I see no Edomites crying. Right. I don't, not that I know of. Right. They had to show a major black figure. They had to coon this nigga out. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they told us that, get up there, nigga boy, and cry. Right? They had to show, because that's a part of that breaking us as a people. Yeah. You gotta cry and be subservient and be buck broken and be. Yeah. The man sound like him and Biden was lovers. Right. Yeah, the man he took me out of the puppy litter. What grown ass man puts himself in a puppy litter? Right. You're a grown ass man. You're not a puppy. The hell is wrong with this nigga, man? He took me out of the puppy litter and raised me up and gave me a chance and gave me a job.
So much for his father, huh? I mean, I guess his father not responsible for anything that he's accomplished Wow. I didn't even know about that one, man. I don't follow the, local, the national news, whatever. But Van Jones, man, shame on you. That's a shame. You ashamed to your own people, to yourself, to your people, to your tribe, to your nation. You ashamed to all of us, fella. And it's you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You should be very ashamed for that behavior.
Oh, this nigga Van Jones, man. That nigga need to be tortured, man. Oh, man, the man sound like him and Biden was lovers. You know what I'm saying? You know, these damn Edomites be sodomites, man. They be buck breaking these niggas. Man, sound like they could have been lovers, man. Get a coon scripture, King. Proverbs 17:15, read.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 15. He that justifies the wicked.
They got files of racism on Biden, man.
Right.
They got files. They got 90-minute YouTube videos going in on his racism. Right, come on.
And he that justifies, and he that condemneth the just.
He that condemneth the just, come on.
Even they both are an abomination.
You gonna justify this old wicked ass man, man? Talking about he gonna tell Charlemagne, if y'all don't vote for me, y'all not black. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. But that's what our people do. Read it one more time.
He that justifies the wicked.
You justify the wicked. Not one single damn Edomite president or no president, Barack Obama, Hamite ass, was ever for our people. Not even JFK, man. The most I just use JFK to say, what if God is black? What if the blacks are God's chosen people? Right? But JFK didn't give a damn, man. He just went to lay up with Marilyn Monroe. Right? He didn't really give a damn. The most I just put a spirit on him to say that. You know what I'm saying? And they knocked him off. Right? But our people, they love when Malcolm says something about the nation of Islam chastised them. Why did you speak about this man? The people love this man. Now, we know Elijah Muhammad was probably telling Malcolm to use wisdom, but Malcolm told the truth. He said the chickens came home to roost. And no matter how much these niggas love this man, his own people killed him. His own Illuminati killed him. So Malcolm was like, the hell with him. And the hell with the people that liked him. He's dead now. But they chastised Malcolm for saying it. Really,
he that justifies the wicked.
That's what our people do, man. So Van Jones, your ass better repent or the Lord gonna destroy you, man. This other cool nigga, Stephen A. Smith. Talk about why did they honor OJ at the BET Awards? Why not? Why not? Right? Because in your mind, you want to please America and say, that nigga killed that white woman. Why they honored him? The man was found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Right? I know some of the court jargon. Right? By a jury of his peers, he was found not guilty. So now, you know what I'm saying? And Stephen A. Smith, sometimes he feel like a coon, sometimes he don't. But man, he'll say something every once in a while, and then he'll just go right back to cooning, man. Right? Give me Isaiah 5:20. Get another coon scripture. Right? These niggas are done, man. He picked that wasn't gonna rack my brain, man. He picked me out of the puppy litter. He gave me a chance. He gave me a job. Now wait a minute. Van Jones is a news commentator. He's an author. He's a nigga. You got 3 good jobs already. You know what I'm saying? The man is. I had to go do a little research on it. I seen him around. I said, who is this nigga? So the man got a hell of a resume.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The man, but 3 of his main titles was CNN news commentator, a lawyer, and an author. So you got 3 somewhat successful careers. What are you crying about Biden taking you out of? No real grown man puts himself in a damn puppy litter. Yeah. All right, but yeah, this place is gone. But read that thing, Isaiah 5:20.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good.
Woe unto them that call evil good.
And good evil.
And good evil.
That put darkness for light.
That put darkness for light. Come on.
And light for darkness.
And what?
And light for darkness.
Come on.
That put bitter for sweet. and sweet for bitter.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So our people, man, our people are done, man. They're done, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what you say, brother?
The demon time tastes good, though. We and brother was just talking about it. I don't know how good that works out for you in jail or did. The demon time
You said the
good.
demon time tastes
good?
good?
It tastes good. You put evil for good. You think it's good.
Yeah.
Like, it tastes good. Look like
I guess it's tasty to them.
until it manifests in its actual destiny. Until you're actually dead. Or you actually
I ain't never know demons was tasty.
Yeah,
All right, brother. Now, I know what you mean, though. I'm just messing with you. That demon time is tasty, meaning it's tempting. The demon time is tempting. All right? Yeah, but see, you know what? That's the devil's job. He tempts you on your. Give me that, what's that, James? Give me James 1, I think it's 12. That's what Satan's job is. He tempts you with your lust. Because he know that's what you like already. So that's what he going to throw at you. You know what I'm saying? That's Satan's job. His job is to tempt you with your lust. Right? That's James, right? James 1? 1 and 12. Read.
The book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life.
That's why James said, endure the temptation. Because the temptation going to come. But how do you endure it? You escape it. All right? Read. Give me that and link that up 1 Corinthians 10:13. Read.
Which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
That which the Lord promised to them that love him. Right? Come on.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God.
He said, don't say when you're tempted of God, because it's Satan's. In their scripture, it actually calls Satan a tempter. Right, God? Right, God?
For God cannot be tempted with evil.
But that's Satan's job. Right, come on.
Neither tempted by any man.
Neither tempted he any man. Right, come on.
But every man is tempted.
Every man is tempted. Come on.
When he is drawn away.
When he's drawn away. Come on.
Of his own lust.
Of his own lust. Come on.
And enticed.
Because Satan know that demon you got on you. He know what you're lusting for and you're struggling with. Right. All right, that's where you got to stay prayed up, fast, stay in your scriptures, stay fortified, man. Put on that whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles or the tricks or the devices of Satan. Right. Right? Right, go ahead. That's it on that.
Right.
No, read on. There's more.
It's like I dropped it.
No, stay with me. Right, James 1, where you left off at.
15. Then the lust has conceived.
Go up the verse above that.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of
Every man is tempted when he's drawn away. Go ahead.
Of his own lust.
Of his own lust. Come on.
And enticed.
Come on.
Then when lust have conceived.
When lust have conceived. Go ahead.
It bringeth forth sin.
It brings forth sin. Because you fall into that temptation and then you commit the act. Right? Come on.
And sin, when it is finished.
Once sin is finished, God
brings forth death.
Forth death, right? Because Paul told us the wages of sin is death.
Right.
Right? Right. So
you got to look
every
forward
man
to.
is drawn away of their own lusts and enticed.
Right.
So the demons is taken. That's a new one, King. Right.
1 Corinthians.
Tempted by the fruit of the devil. That fruit is sweet. Right. Go ahead.
10 verse 13.
Go ahead.
They have no temptation.
They have no temptation. Come on.
Taking you, but such as is common to man.
See, that's why when people call me for counseling or advice, or when they want to talk about something, they say, elder man, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. I say, yo, hold up. Stop making it sound like you're the only one, man. Right? Woe is me. Right? The whole world got to shut down because I need help with this what I'm struggling with. There is nothing that's not common into man. Come on.
Such as is common to man. But God is faithful.
The Lord is faithful. Come on.
Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
The Lord said he's not like the Christians say, the Lord don't put more on you than you can. Right, God? Hallelujah. Right, God?
But will with the temptation.
Well, will with that same temptation, God,
also make a way to escape.
Make a what?
A way to escape.
You will make a way to escape. The Lord always give you an out. But you know what? You listen to that demon. Right? You let that demon, when you see that out, you better go. Escape. Escape. Right? Now, what's that scripture in the Apocrypha says, flee from sin as from a serpent? Like if a damn giant anaconda came in a room, you gonna get the hell out of here. That's how you're supposed to treat sin, man. Yo, get the hell, yo. I can get out through that window. That window got a fire escape. This big ass anaconda snake is coming through the door. I'm out that window. I'm gonna climb down that damn fire escape and get up out of here. That's how you gotta treat sin, man. You gotta flee from it as from the face of a serpent. But the demon tongue is tasty.
Make a way to escape.
What do I say?
Make a way to escape.
You're gonna make a way for you to escape. Come on.
That ye may be able to bear it.
That you may be able to bear that temptation. The Lord. So, see, that's a beautiful way to escape the temptation. Understand it that there's always a way out. Always a way. You guys got to think about it. Damn, you know, Satan trying to get me on this one. Yo, how am I gonna get around this, man? Right? See, that's what you got to do. So when you check it out, man, the Lord, He gives us, you know, He gives us everything we need to be fortified in the spirit to escape the wickedness and the temptation. He's gonna give you a way out, right? So understand that. So the devil, right? The devil is the ways of Satan is tasty, right? I hear you, bro. He got the line for the day. Bro got the line. He got the line for the day. Right? Right. So, any more questions or comments? Got any more comments, brother?
I got something that's called Nike. It's called Niggas Killing Me. So I need everybody help me.
Huh?
I got something called Nike. Niggas Killing Me. So I'm an activist around.
Nike.
Nike.
Nike. Oh.
Yeah, like it's
a niggas killing each
it's
other.
an acronym. It's an acronym like
It's a
I'm just manifesting that we just do that. Like,
Yeah, give me I shall be evil towards his brother. Right? Yeah, I mean that's right. That's good, brother. But you trying to start like a organization or something? Right. Well, you need to come on over to this side, right? Right? Repent. Where's your father from? Yeah. No, your biological father. Is he so-called African American? So then you would be from the tribe of Judah of the nation of Israel. We need you to get on this side, brother. Right? So the demon won't be tasty no more. Right? Read, get the classic though. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother.
That's why Nike niggas are killing each other. And I don't know exactly how you do the acronym, but that's because of the curse. It was in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. His eye will be evil towards his brother. You can walk in a room and right away feel attention from other so-called black and Latino men. It's a damn shame. You barely can say what's up to brothers.
Y'all like your shit.
If you don't get that certain vibe, like, nah, I ain't gonna even speak to this dude, man. Because the nigga might say to me, why you talking to me? I don't know you, nigga. They good for that in New York. New York changed a little bit because people from other states are starting to move there. But they good for that. I don't know this nigga, man. Nigga saying what up to me. I don't know this dude. Damn, brother, I'm just another so-called black or Latino man, just acknowledging another king. And it's so sad, man. It's so sad. You can say something to a dude and it can go left. Nigga, I don't know you. Don't speak to me. That's sad, man. So that's why when you look in the mirror and you hate what you see, so you're gonna project it to those that look like you. Read what you got, King. That's why you got neighborhoods now that are being gentrified, but niggas are still killing each other.
Right.
Because the hatred, he gonna find, 10 white families moved in, but I'm gonna find that one nigga up that lived 2 blocks away. Like 20 white families don't moved in, and I'm not saying you necessarily just gotta kill them, right? There's a time and a place for everything, but I'm gonna find that one nigga that lived 2 blocks away, I got beef with him.
Yeah, so what the elder's saying is you'll go out of your way to have a problem with one of your own people, but yet you got people who done all manner of wickedness and evil to you, and you don't even see them as a problem. I mean, that's not sensible whatsoever. That's what the elder said. That's not sensible whatsoever. Continue.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, you got neighborhoods gentrified now, but we still find each other to kill. Right, me, King?
And toward the wife of his bosom.
And toward the wife of his bosom, right? Now, I don't know the dynamic with Sonya Massey, but where was the man?
Right.
No man in the picture, man. The rebuilding of a nation starts with the family structure. And who's at the top of the family structure? The man, the husband. All right, come on.
And toward the remnant of his children.
And toward the remnant of his children. Go ahead.
Which he shall lead.
That what?
Which he shall lead.
That he shall lead, man. You know what I'm saying? Give me Proverbs 1 and 10, I believe it is. Proverbs 1 and 10. See how, you know what our people, man? They love. Right. Right? They love to shed blood. They love to shed each other's blood. Right? They get a kick out of it. Who got it? Read.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Consent thou not, man. A lot of times what it is our people enticing, putting demons on each other. Right, yo, brother, we're gonna go get that nigga. You might be like, yo, hold up, brother, what happened? Yo, yeah, maybe we can squash it, man. Nah, nigga, I ain't trying to hear none of that. I ain't trying to look soft, yo. Niggas gonna think we soft if we want to squash it. Yo, it ain't that deep, man.
Right.
It ain't that serious. It ain't worth nobody losing their life over.
Right.
Yo, we gonna talk to them niggas and squash this and crash this.
Right.
Right, but nah, you know what I people? That ego, man. That ego and that pride is why a lot of niggas is laying in that grave.
Right.
That ego and that pride.
Right.
You might have one sensible dude like, yo, hold up, what? Y'all know them niggas, man. Let me go talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Nah, son, I ain't trying to talk about nothing, man. My gun gonna talk for me, nigga. Come on, brother.
Right.
That's why you gotta come up, you gotta come up with an acronym. Niggas killing each other. Right, good. Read on.
Verse 11.
I mean, listen, we kill each other.
Right.
The white man kills us, don't get me wrong.
Yes. Right.
But we be doing each other dirty too, man.
Right.
I can tell you some stories, man. Dudes got shot, stabbed, burnt up, thrown off the roof. God damn. Overkill. You stab a dude, shoot him in the head, set him on fire, and then kick him off the 20th roof of the projects. This is a real story. It happened to my man I grew up with in Harlem. Yeah, man. Now he was out there, you know, doing whatever, but damn. See, we are strategists when it's time to kill each other. Yeah, man. Read on, King, in Proverbs 1. You got something? Read.
Verse 11. If they say, come with us, let us wait for blood.
It said, if they say, come with us, let us wait for blood. Yo, we gonna get them ops, yo. You know what I'm saying? I watched them documentaries from Chicago with the drill rapping and all them killing, man. Them dudes was just strategizing how they gonna kill each other, man. Just niggas turn into damn war strategists and damn, you know what I'm saying? Sectioning the neighborhood off how we gonna get these niggas. Yeah, man. It's a damn shame. Right, come on.
Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause.
Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Good.
Verse 12. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave and whole as those that go down to the pit.
See, that's how people are, man. They wait for blood. They hunt for blood. What you got?
This is Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Be kindly affection one to another.
Oh, man. You seen as weak and soft if you do that. Right. But we supposed to be kindly affection to one another. Yo, what up, King? Shalom. How you doing, man? How was your day, King? Come on, it's love. You have a blessed day, brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what's wrong with that? How does that equate to making you look soft? Right. But that's how people are, man. Read on.
With brotherly love.
With what?
With brotherly love.
See, that's the offset to Deuteronomy 28.
Right.
Not that the scripture's supposed to cancel each other out, but the curse is supposed to be taken up by acts like this.
Right.
Be ye kindly affection one toward another, man. But no. Your eye is evil towards your brother. Self-hatred, man. Willie Lynch syndrome. You still in a cotton field. You worried about if I'm in the house getting some butter biscuits. And you still got to be out in the field. Yeah, man. Guys, more that.
in honor, preferring one another.
Preferring one another. Good precept, King. Prefer your people first, man.
Exactly.
You're supposed to prefer one another. We preferring everybody else but us.
But us.
Right? That's why you have the gender war now, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't what's that guy that dated Tariq? Debated Tariq. He does that podcast, Sneeko or whatever. Yeah, and on his podcast a lot, they always talking about I don't date black women. Myron Gaines. I don't date black women because of this. Oh, I don't date black men because of this. Oh, I don't date everybody, man. But who are they mainly talking about? Everybody got a problem with Jake, man. Everybody got a problem with Jake. Eve is up there running her damn mouth 5 hours and got 500 reasons why she don't date her brother. See that? We got a gender war, man. Because we're not kindly affection to one another, preferring one another. Right. That's deep what Paul said, man. Yeah. That means you're supposed to put your people first, man. You're supposed to put the love of the brotherhood. Give me link that up with St. Mark 12, 31. Yeah, man, preferring one another. But you don't prefer each other. Not about, like I said, man, you walk in a room, your own people instantly turned off. Right. A lot of these so-called black women, man, you just look their way, they turning their face up. I'm not even thinking about your ass, man. I don't care how good you look, how big your behind is, how ratchet you dress. A lot of times you just turn and look a certain way and eat. I'm not even thinking about you, yo. I just happen to be looking that way. Right. And she think every nigga want to talk to her. Right. But I don't give a damn how big your behind is, what you got on. I don't care about none of that. Because I know for the most part, not all sisters, but most of the time you a damn demon anyway. And I don't want to talk to you. I ain't got a damn thing to say to you because it's going to turn into an argument. I'm getting on the elevator. I'm not thinking about your ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting on the elevator, go to my damn floor. You said, Eve in there, you step in the elevator. Oh my God, this nigga want to try to talk to me here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking about your ass, man.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? But that's how people are, man. Read that, kid.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 12, and verse 35.
It would be nice to just say, what's up? How you doing?
And the second is like, namely this.
Peace.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Right, good.
And the second is like, namely this. Good. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
See, now what happened to loving your neighbor as yourself? Right. And we all know Leviticus 19 tells us our neighbor is our fellow Israelite. Right. Yeah, man, it's just a war with us, man. It's a war. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, some people you might bump into, hey, bro, how you doing? Have a blessed day. You know, far in between, but a lot of that self-hatred is still there, man. All right, read on.
There is none other commandment greater than these.
And there's no other commandment greater than these. Because if you love the Lord and you love your neighbor, you're going to fulfill all the commandments.
That's right.
Was there more in Romans?
Praise God.
On preferring one another? Kindly affection, man, preferring one another. Paul got deep on that, man. You're supposed to prefer, right? In other words.
And you know, it's ironic because when we talk about that, they think there's something wrong with us. And yet that's in the script. When we say we prefer one another, I prefer the presence of my own people, they think it's something wrong with us. Oh, I love all people. I can't be around. I don't want to be around just black people. I want to be around all people. I need all people. And
was you supposed to want to be and deal and love your people first, man. We supposed to prefer each other. Right. But you know what I'm saying? Like a relationship or a marriage. Yo, I prefer to be with a woman of my nation.
Yes.
Right.
I prefer to be with a man of my nation. So much hatred, like I said, you get on an elevator and noses get turned up. Yeah, that's how much hatred we got for each other. All right, that's just my brother. He going to his floor. Whatever. Right? We know a lot of Jakes are obnoxious, though. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
See, that's the thing too. The brother, some brothers do make it difficult. Some sisters do make it difficult. You know, I hate to put everybody in a box. You know, because you see a sister, she might look nice. You might say, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, just for the sake of, being courteous, being polite. Don't mean I want to take you home. Don't mean I want to go home with you. Don't mean that we got to link up. I'm just, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Man, I love seeing my people. I love seeing my people. I love my people. It's a beautiful thing. We're the most beautiful people in the earth. It's a magnificent thing to see my people, especially when they're natural. Natural hair, natural eye, without all that mess on their face, including stupid eyelashes. Most beautiful people. So you should be happy to see our own people. Let's continue.
Well, you ugly anyway, D. So sometimes sisters don't want to deal with that. But even that, hey, don't do your sister like that, man. If she don't want to talk to you, she don't want to talk to you. Leave her alone. She might be married, or she might not want to be in a relationship right now, or maybe she just don't like you. You know what I'm saying? Right? Or she might be rude and be a demon. Either way, we need to cut it out. I agree.
Yeah.
Verse 18, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
Right, see that? If it be possible, live peaceably. Shalom, King, shalom, shalom. I didn't know you was down here. Okay, Khan. Okay, yeah, okay, Khan, I get it from him. All right, King. Come here, shalom. All right, shalom, King, shalom. All right, go ahead.
Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath.
See that? The Lord said, avenge not yourself. Going back, brother, to what we was talking about earlier. Right, like we can go into a whole lesson on the dynamics of vengeance. All right, come on.
For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
And see, our people need to learn that with each other. We always want to get that lick back with each other.
Right.
And like I said, it could be the littlest thing. You know how much stuff, man, since I've been in this truth, I just let go? Because what? I'm walking in the spirit, man. It ain't life or death. It ain't, whatever, man. The Most High gonna deal with that. See, it's hard sometimes because you're still a human being. You have feelings and stuff make you mad and people do stuff, but it's like, you know what? I'm gonna let the Most High deal with that. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirsts, give him drink.
See, we gotta get to that level, man. Exactly. That's a whole other level of humanity.
And that's somebody who you got a problem with. That's somebody who you got a beef with. That's somebody who you had an issue with. Y'all ain't getting along, but yet this is your brother. And when you see this person in a situation, you might count him among your enemies, but this is still your brother. You got to deal with him like a brother. So they took this and tried to make this into them. You got to deal this way with the so-called white man. This is what they tried to tell us. But that is nonsense. That's not what the scripture is talking about. This is talking about dealing with your brother. So somebody who I'm not getting along with, who I find in need of help, I can't say, forget that Hebrew. F that Hebrew. F that Negro. F that such and such. I can't say that. I have to say, this is my brother. He needs help. I have to help him. I got to help him. So when I go to help him, he thinking I'm coming to chastise him. I'm coming to hurt him. No, I'm here to help. What you need? Your ox in a ditch. Let me help you get him out. You're not able to draw the water. Let me help you draw it. You got a flat tire. Let me help you change it. You carrying a bunch of stuff. Let me help you carry it. Let me help my brother. Even though we was at odds, we wasn't in agreement. You still my brother. Let me help you. We got to get back to that, like the elder said. Continue, elder.
Humility and how we deal with each other as a people. Right? Come on.
For in doing so, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head.
See that? The Lord said, in doing so, you're going, like they say, kill him with kindness. Like that saying goes. You're going to heap coals of fire upon their head.
He's going to be like, man, I got a problem with this brother and this brother helping me. I got a problem with this brother and this brother doing this for me. I got a problem with this brother and this brother got my back. I got a problem with this brother and this brother is a good brother. Why am I got a problem with a good brother? Why am I holding something against a good brother? Why do I have an issue? This brother is a good brother. I need to be with this brother. I need to be down with this brother. I don't need to be against this brother. I don't need to be holding nothing against this brother. That is ridiculous behavior. Why am I behaving this way? Well, I'm bugging out. That's what he mean when he say you're gonna heap hot coal on his head, because it's gonna burn him. Like, I can't believe I got a problem with this brother. This is a good brother. Why would I have a problem with this brother? Let's continue.
Right. See, the Bible tells us what to do, man. The scriptures tell us what to do. You got something in the apocryphal? Right, bring it out.
Sirach chapter 28, verse 2. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee.
Start at 1.
He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord.
See that? Vengeance again, right? Good.
He that revenge shall find vengeance of Yahuwah. Woo! You don't want Yahuwah getting vengeance on you. You don't want Yahuwah coming at your throat. You don't want that. See.
And he will surely keep his sins in remembrance.
See that? Now that's deep right there. The scripture is telling you a lot of times, if you go out and seek your own revenge, you're going to find vengeance from the Lord. The Lord going to jack you up. Right. So a lot of times you got to step back and let the Most High do. Right, come on.
Forgive the neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee.
Forgive thy neighbor. And our people.
And that's the thing. Your neighbor is your own people. This is not meant for another nation of people to come in, pillage, plunder, destroy, hurt, harm, and just impoverish you, imprison you, do all manner of wickedness to you, and now I forgive you. I forgive. No, that's not what that's talking about. This is your neighbor, your brother, somebody of your own people. This is where we got them. This is where we missed the understanding. This is why they have us separated one from another instead of together. This is why United Congo will work, because you put the Bantu with the Igbo, with the Hebrew, with all the people of the children of Israel together. That'll work 100%. You can't do a united Africa because it's too diverse. It's too many different ethnic groups. It's too many different nationalities. It's too many nations. It's too many tribes. It's too much to be put together in one. You got to unite. The only way you're going to do that is a bunch of war. You got to take some people in captive. You have to make them do what it is you want them to do. You have to make them subjective. And that's not what you should be doing. What we need to be focusing on is dealing with each other righteously. How do I deal with my brother? How do I deal with my sister? How do I deal with my mother? How do I deal with my father? How do I deal with my cousins? How do I deal with my own people righteously? That's where your focus needs to be. Doing things right, according to what the scripture have said. Let's continue.
Remember, used to get in trouble in school, and you said, I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. And the teacher make you write it 100 times. Our people need to write, forgive thy neighbor 100 damn times. Right? Get it in their damn conscience, brother, like you said. God.
Right. So shall thy sins also be forgiven.
See, the Most High, then the Most High will have mercy on you. Right. Right? If you learn to forgive your brother. We like to bring this verses out during the Day of Atonement. All right? Because then you want the Most High to forgive you, right? So learn to forgive each other. Good.
When thou prayest, one man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord?
Right. See that? Like the scriptures say, how could you love the Most High that you have not seen, but you don't love your brother that you see every day? What you bear hatred towards your brother, you want the Most High to forgive you and hear your prayer? Right, go ahead.
He showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself.
No mercy to a man like himself.
Like himself.
And that's why a lot of times you hear about some of these stories, you know, and you be like, damn, that's how the beef started? And 12 people ended up dead? Right. And the war's going back and forth?
No.
Yeah, because you don't know how to forgive, man. Over the pettiest things.
That's right.
Petty things that you don't know how to forgive. Right, come on.
And doeth he ask forgiveness for his own sin?
And you ask forgiveness, so you expect the Most High to forgive your sins, and you can't forgive your brother? Right, come on.
Verse 5. If he that is but flesh nourish hatred.
If you're but flesh and you're going to nourish hatred, why did the Most High say but flesh? Because you ain't nobody. Who you think you are? I ain't got to forgive him. The hell with him. Most High's like, man, you ain't nothing but flesh. I made you. And you want to try to love me but can't forgive your fellow brother the flesh that I made? Right, come on.
Who will entreat for pardon of his sins?
Go ahead.
Remember thy end, and let enmity cease. Remember corruption and death.
See, the Lord said enmity, strife. Remember the end and let strife cease. Right, come on.
And abide in the commandment.
And do what?
Abide in the commandment.
And abide, stay in these commandments, right? That's how, because the commandments teach you about brotherly love, sisterly love, love for your nation. Right? These are the things, man. If we practice these things, which is not really hard. Right? The Most High said we will be his sons and daughters. But you don't want to do that. You want to hate each other. You want to keep beef going. Right? You want a lot of our people, they want to still be mad. They don't want to let it go. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because that's self-hatred. Then you don't understand. Give me Matt, you got something else? Give me Matthew 18 with the conflict resolution. Right? Matthew 18. Right? You don't understand that the Bible even tells us how we can work our problems out. Brothers and sisters be calling me up. I'll be like, yo, well, did you talk to the brother? You telling me the whole story about you and this person? Did you talk to them? No, I'm just saying, that brother be off. But brother, did you step to the brother? Did you talk about him? Did you try to, call the brother up and talk to him? No, you're telling me for. You know what I'm saying? But then that's how, what's that word, fester? That's how it festers, man. Yeah. Then you talking to the wrong person. Talk to the person you gotta get you with. You're giving me a whole damn laundry list of problems. You ain't even talking to the person that you so bad, like, no problem. Now you wrote me a damn essay on what happened. Talk to them. Right, Matthew 18:15. Read.
This book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. What you holding? Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee.
Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, God,
go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
Go and tell your brother his fault between you and him alone. God,
if he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
If your brother hear you, he get 1, 2, 3. See what Yahweh is saying is like a you never know scenario. Yo, you never know until you try. Go to your brother. You already got a preconceived notion. I ain't talking that nigga, man. It's just gonna go left. Nah. And you know how many times I tested that? And I was surprised by people's reaction. Oh, no. I was slacky about that, man. I ain't need it like that. I was like, oh, I thought the brothers would get proud and come like that. Because why? I applied to Matthew 18. And it was all better. Everything was good. I'm like, damn, all right, the brother reacted better than I thought. All right, come on.
Verse 16. But if he would not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more.
Right. If he won't hear you, then you take with you 1 or 2 more. And a lot of times Israel be doing it backwards. You go tell 10 people before you spoke to the person.
Right.
All right, good.
That in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established.
The mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word will be established. All right, we got witnesses now, and those witnesses, you never know. They can bring in their perspective and help resolve the issue.
Yeah.
All right, good.
17.
Like they say with the police, we need a fresh set of eyes on the case. So you bring in more people, and then what happens? You resolve it. Good.
And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell them unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church,
if he neglect to hear him, go tell it to the church. Then you got a counsel. Good.
Let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publisher.
You go through stages. There's stages.
Right.
And the reason why Yahweh gave us this because one of those scenarios are going to work.
That's right.
Even if it's the last scenario. All right, this brother ain't trying to take no correction. It's just they got to be like a heathen man and a publican. But one of them scenarios is going to work.
heathen
And
man
then,
or
like,
the tax
a
collector?
lot of times when you shame that brother or sister, then they get.
The heathen man, meaning a person of another nation, or the tax collector, somebody of your own people that's working for the other nation. These are wicked people.
Themselves together. They be like, damn, nobody want to deal with me. I probably was off. Man. Then they might see the error of their way and come back and apologize and say, you know what, I was wrong. Everybody don't want to deal with me, so I must be in the wrong. All right, good.
Verse 19. Sorry. Verse 18. Verily, I say unto you.
Sit on that. Read what you got.
This is 1 John chapter 4, verse 21. And this commandment we have from him, that he who loveth God loveth his brother also.
It said, this commandment we have from him, that he that loveth Yahweh loveth his brother also.
Can't love the Most High if you don't love your own people.
I mean, come on, man. It don't get no plainer than that. It don't get no plainer. Shalom. Right? Yeah, man. It don't get no plainer than that, man. He that loveth his the Most High, you must love your brother. Right? You have to. That's a commandment. Covenant is against the law. Right? And that's why, man, I don't think the Most High, he gave me that spirit from in the world. I don't really hold grudges, man. I might not rock with you because you, man, but I ain't gonna hate you. I'm gonna wish the best for you. I want to see every Israelite win. Every Israelite that the Most High wants to be. A lot of these Negroes got to be destroyed.
Might not rock with you.
Yeah, might not rock with you.
But I ain't mad at you.
Come on. Right? Might not rock with you, but I ain't mad at you. And I want the best for you. You know what I'm saying? Truthfully, right? Truthfully. If something happened to you, then that was the will of the Most High. And I hope when that judgment comes, you see the error of your way. Right. And you repent. You know what I'm saying? But it's all going back to that forgiveness. Give me Matthew 6:14. It's all going back to that forgiveness. Man. Right, make your enemies your footstool. That's right, brother.
You don't have to do nothing. You and God say, and you will see sometimes the
great. Right, we serve a beautiful power.
And somebody else like.
So we're gonna get a few more and start winding it down. All right, all praise to Yahweh by Shema Shai. We love it when the word goes out. It's a beautiful thing. All of my family out here, got the mighty SOT in the building. Got my brother Yahweh, strong brother Yahweh, reading for me on the line. Oh, praises. All right, so where we at? Matthew 6:14. Read. Hey, you got something else? Read.
In the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 14. For if you forgive men their trespass, your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
See that the Most High said, look, before you even think about coming to me, you got to deal with your brother.
Right.
Good? If you forgive men their trespasses, then the Most High will forgive you. Good?
16. Moreover, when ye fast, be not at the hip.
6 starting 14.
God. Verse 14. For if ye forgive men their trespass, the heavenly Father will also forgive you.
Good.
But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses.
The Lord said, if you don't forgive men their trespasses, your Father not going to forgive you your trespasses. So you see the reoccurring theme, right? For lack of a better way of saying it, the reoccurring theme is you can't even step to me before you step to your brother. See that? That's the reoccurring theme when we read about forgiveness, right? You got a question, brother, or a comment? Excuse me?
What exactly are you supposed to do in the Sabbath day?
Give me Genesis 2. All right, you get Genesis 2.
I'm supposed to rest, but what exactly supposed to
give me Genesis 2, 1 through 3, and give me Leviticus with the law. Leviticus 23.
I don't know.
Hey, brother, listen. Genesis 2.
Good, huh?
Genesis 2, 1 through 3. That's my man, though. That's my man. My man, 50 grand. We're going to get you over here, Jimmy.
Read. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, beginning at verse 1. God. Thus, the heavens and the earth were finished. You know?
What you say? Huh?
The Bible don't lie.
The Bible don't lie. That's right, brother.
Right.
That's right. Read.
See that again?
I said the Bible don't lie.
No.
Hey, if we had that Bible, if we had that Bible in the hand, anybody not tell me anything. I ain't come on that book. I walk on there. Come on, man. I ain't trying to do nothing.
He rested on the 7th day. All his work which he had made. The Lord ceased from all his work that he had made. Good. And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. Because that in it, he had rested for all his work which God created and made. The way the Most High, he created the heavens and the earth through Yahweh Shai, the angels, and he ceased that 7th day. He gave us that day to cease and rest also. Like we work 6 days a week, and then we got that 7th day to cease and rest also. But the Most High gave us that from the beginning. Give me Leviticus 23.
Leviticus 23, verse 3. 6 days shall work be done.
It says 6 days shall work be done. Good.
But the 7th is the Sabbath of rest.
Come on.
And holy convocation.
A what?
A holy convocation.
Now, on a Sabbath, you can come together and have Shabbat class. Like, you can come together and congregate. That's the day to congregate. Or like a lot of brothers do now, you basically having your Shabbat outside. It's like class outside. You come out, like sometimes sisters might sit down with their Bibles, or brothers come with their Bibles, and you come outside. That's still a holy convocation. Because Yahweh Shah said, well, 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm in the midst also. So that's it's somewhat like an outdoor Shabbat class. They're gathering together in a holy convocation to teach the people out on the street. Good.
You shall do no work therein.
Now, let's say you're not with a congregation or you're not in a camp, you stay home and you can read your scriptures, study. We got YouTube now, you can watch videos, but you got to keep that day holy and make that day all about serving the Most High. Right. If you're not in a camp or you congregate somewhere, you stay home and you have your nose in that Bible all day. Well, like I said, you got YouTube videos that you can put on, you can watch a marathon of videos and take your notes. Brothers teaching on different topics and take your notes, mark your Bible, and be in that word from sun up to sundown. All right, that's what you do. Also, give me the Nehemiah, no buying and selling. All right, and you give me what's the one in Isaiah? I think it's 53. Turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, or 58. All right, so these are the things you do on the Shabbat, brother. Some of them. All right, but the main thing with the Shabbat is you want to congregate for a Shabbat lesson, or you want to go out to a camp somewhere, or even if you come out and visit the camp, like today, you came out on the Shabbat from visiting the camp. So you got edified out here. This was a good thing you did on the Shabbat. All right, who got it?
Me. It's a book by Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 13.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, turn away your foot from the Sabbath, go ahead. From doing thy pleasure on my holy day. If whatever you want to do as far as pleasure, that's all shut down on the Sabbath. You got to do everything towards the Most High. It's all about keeping a day holy. It's all about being in the Word, studying, learning, edifying. Right? It's not about what you feel like doing. It's about serving the Lord on the Shabbat day. Right? Come on.
And call the Sabbath a delight.
Good.
The holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him.
Right, we're supposed to be looking forward to the Shabbat. Right? It's an honorable day. You're supposed to be like, damn, I can't wait to go to camp this Sabbath. Right. I can't wait to get on class this Sabbath.
Right.
Or, now we have technology and social media. You can congregate by way of social media.
Right.
So let's say if somebody's doing a Shabbat lesson, a brother could be in his home by himself doing a lesson, and there's 200 people online congregating with him by way of the technology. Come on.
Not doing their own ways.
Not doing your own ways. Go ahead.
Nor finding thy own pleasure.
Nor finding your own pleasure. Go ahead.
Nor speaking thy own words.
Nor speaking your own words. So whatever you deem to be pleasurable on the Shabbat day, you let that go. You got 6 days for that.
Hallelujah. Praises to the Abba. All right. I'm thankful. I don't know about y'all. I'm thankful. I came on here and just want to check out some things. Final thoughts on this fifth evening. First of all, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes who are scattered to the 4 quarters of the earth. Shalom, Wabaruki, peace and blessings. Man, we covered a lot on this video. Shout out to Black Journals. Shout out to We Make Media, or what's the name of it? Salaki. I don't want to butcher you. Let me pull it up. My bad. I don't want to butcher you, brother. I appreciate y'all, the work y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? Respect. So much media, Salaki, so much media. And also shout out to dear brother Richie, Undisputable with Dr. Rashad Richie. Respect to the brother. If you don't check it out, Dr. Rashad Richie, check him out. He has a lot of good stuff. They highlighted one. They highlighted one. Matter of fact, let me put this one up here. I'm gonna put this one up too. This dang wicked women, wicked white woman.
A white Florida woman decides to get extremely racist at a black woman. Here it is.
You ugly you're a ugly. Yeah, this one's going to be a doozy. Let me give you the backstory. A young woman the other day, a young black woman, is in Tampa, Florida, driving into Brandon, Florida. She's dropping her young daughter off at daycare. She said she saw a truck behind her at one point, like a few cars back, swerving and honking. She thought something was going on, had nothing to do with her. She pulls into a right-hand lane to make a right-hand turn, but the sign says, no turn on red. So she's waiting for the light. She's turned, kind of talking to her daughter while she's waiting. And then she hears a bang on her door. She turns around and there's someone standing there. And she said her first impression was that it was a police officer because of the gun. She said this woman was at her door with a firearm and a holster on her side, her shirt tucked in between her body and the gun. She could see it clearly. And then she kind of realizes what the woman's saying. She's yelling, you stupid N-word, you and your monkey baby, you're going to make me late, and making threats. Then she walks away, gets in her truck, and drives around and like blocks her in. They actually miss the light. The light turns green. This woman who's running late makes them miss the light and is still screaming. At that point, it's when she pulls out her phone and starts recording. Let me quickly say this video is going to like freeze up at a moment. There's something like corrupt in the file when she tries to send it, but the audio is still playing. It's not you, it's the video. But just watch what happens. Yeah. Bother me, you ugly. You're a ugly like your baby. You learn how to drive before you kill her. Yeah. What's that gonna do you? Yeah. She said once she saw the phone, she took off. So she kept recording, hoping to get a clear shot of her plate. And this is where she was going anyway. That woman turns right, she is as well. But then for some reason, she thinks that woman thought she was following her, actually stopped and got in behind her. And then said she followed her, she'd come in front of her and brake check her, then get behind her again. Finally, the victim pulled into a parking lot with this woman right behind her and started honking her horn to get attention because she was afraid this woman was going to do something. And then this woman took off and was finally gone.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable.
This is a real situation where this woman is doing this. And you're going to find out in this last little piece of this video that,
or here it is,
she's doing it more.
Unfortunately, the footage she recorded of her plates looks like this. So I'm going to try that thing they do in the movies where they like zoom in and say enhance, and it clears up the image. So enhance. Oh, that worked really well. That's really clear. Yeah, unfortunately, that whole enhance thing doesn't work. But this is her plate. And you might think, oh, that's wonderful. Someone saw this happening and actually got a good shot of her plate. Nope. This picture wasn't taken by someone who saw what was happening to her. This picture was taken on a totally different day by a totally different black woman who had almost the identical experience with that same woman. She said she was driving and had that woman in that truck cut her off and almost caused an accident. So she honked at her and the woman flew into a rage, started swerving and screaming. So she flipped her off and tried to keep going. But instead, then she got in front of her, was brake checking her. She said, I could not get past her. I literally had to go on the grass to get around her. And then she came speeding up to me with her window down, calling me an N and my baby daughter an N baby. My daughter was so frightened once she seen her showing a black object that we both assume was a gun. That sound familiar? Like the one she had on her side? She said when she pulled out her phone and started recording her, she sped off, but she zoomed in and got the plate. And just so we know they are the same person, this is the picture the second victim took. The first victim didn't realize in that video where she was yelling at her that she actually got part of her plate at the tail end of it. And you can see it's the same. AZ61TW. It's the same woman in the same truck. Now, I'll say this. I have a name, and I'm confident it's the right name for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is this criminal traffic record. But I'm not going to put it out there yet. It has been given to police, and they are working on this. They're taking it seriously, and I appreciate that. But I wanted to put this out there because, one, I think I'm going to have people contact me who confirm that name. And two, I kind of think we're going to find more victims. I think we're going to find more people who have had similar encounters with her.
So apparently this woman is just, this so-called white woman is beside herself in her behavior towards so-called black people. And she just behaves so irrationally and seeks to attack. And she carries a gun, which is why you need to carry a gun. You need to have a gun. You better have a gun, because if you don't have a gun, they got guns. Not only you need to carry a gun, you need to be proficient with your gun. Not only you need to carry a gun and be proficient with your gun, you better be prayed up. You better be fasted up. You better hope that the Most High is with you, because these devils train for destruction. We don't train for destruction. We train for taking care of ourselves, our nation, our women, and our children. All right, so these things need to happen. So, like I said, I covered a lot in this video. Some final thoughts, praises to the Abba, first of all. Shout out to, again, all of the videos we reviewed. Great work from Elder Zabach. Man, just Tola Rabbi, Abba Yahuwah, for everything that you have put together to be able to sit here and review these videos and for almost 4 hours. And it don't feel like anything. It don't feel like nothing, time-wise. So Tola Rabbi, Abba Yahuwah, for another opportunity and for life and for breath. And I appreciate y'all checking this out. And I hope you're edified. I hope you lifted up, and I hope things are well. I pray for all of Israel. I love you all. I love my people. And man, let's get up out of here. Let's get up out of here. Let's do the things right so we can get up out of here. That's my objective. All right, I'm going to close it out with the book of Ecclesiastes, like we always do about this time. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 12 and verse number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It is so very important that we understand that we are to fear the Most High and keep his commandments, because this is the whole duty of man. At the end of the day, when it is all said and done, all the dust is settled and all the smoke is cleared, we will be judged on whether we have feared the Most High and kept his commandments. Why? Because this is the entire reason that we were made. I am your Akazaki Yahoo, giving all praises, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the 4 quarters of the earth. I say, Shalom, Wa, Baruchi, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait till the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, under one covenant, and back in our own land with no more a heart of stone, but indeed a heart of flesh. Until that day, shalom, family. Praises to the Abba. Hallelujah.